Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a story about a girl whose pink hair should have made her royalty, but instead, her toxic family unalived her 7 times because they said her color was trash. She even took the heat for her fake sister's crimes. She did hard time in prison and followed every order her dad barked at her. When her magic finally awakened, she let her brothers steal the credit. All she wanted was a crumb of love from her fam. Spoiler alert, she didn't get it. But honestly, after dying 7 times, you kinda get numb to it. She was like, round 8, let's roll. Is this really family? These people literally wanted to see her head roll on the chopping block. If she had realized sooner that these people were garbage, she wouldn't have suffered so much. But now, in life number 8, Harris is done simping for her family's approval. She is officially in her villain era. No more hiding her insane power level. She's about to kick her dad off his high horse and finally live her best life. Main character energy only from here on out, fam. Every timeline starts the same. A monster goes rampage mode. Her brother ignores her to save the stepsister and hits her with the "my bad, I'll save you next time." Yeah, okay bro, whatever helps you sleep at night. That excuse was a total joke. Harris was so over it. She unleashed the family's secret spring power boom. You just hear this gnarly scream echo through the hall. The monster got wrecked by giant vines instantly. Her brother Kido is shook like, wait, you have magic? He looks stupid after ignoring her. Total clown behavior. He was speechless until the little snake Gabriella squeezed out some fake tears. Suddenly, Kido forgets he's a jerk. Harris wasn't having it. She is not sticking around for this soap opera. She didn't stick around for the drama. She just walked away, and get this, flowers literally bloomed with every step she took. She ghosted them like a total boss. Context time. There are 4 big shot families controlling the seasons, but their magic DNA is getting weak. The Inuitan clan runs spring, but they are struggling. Usually, only 1 kid gets the juice per generation. Everyone bet on the brother, Kido, but turns out he is a dud. 0 magic, complete flop. Kido actually told dad the truth, but the old man is in denial. He is like, nope, the magic belongs to my son. He planned to gaslight Harris the next day, but she is not playing that game anymore. Next morning, she strolls into the dining hall, grabs a knife, and goes for the big breakfast. Everyone's jaws dropped. Miss? That is the boss's food. She used to be banned from the table, but today, she is chowing down on the premium steak. In her past lives, she only got scraps. Not anymore. Fam. She is upgrading. She slammed the table and told the help, from now on, this is what I eat. Don't bring me trash. Queen behavior unlocked. She was bouncing when she bumped into her dad and Kido. Dad asks, why were you eating here? Like he owns the air. Harris just rolled her eyes. Like, are you serious? She literally ignored him and kept walking. Dad starts screaming like a Karen. I said stop. Harris turned around slowly, looking bored out of her mind. She is like, spit it out, I'm busy. Next time, call my secretary. She roasted him so hard he almost broke a tooth grinding them together. Kido dragged the angry dad inside, only to find crumbs and 2 leaves on his plate. Dad lost it. Get that girl back here right now. He was fuming. He always hated her pink hair, blamed her for her mom's death, and treated the stepdaughter like gold while treating Harris like dirt. Even the maids bullied her. The staff used to get a power trip from disrespecting her, thinking it was cool to bully a noble. But today, that free ride is over. She asked a maid for water, and the maid literally splashed her with it. Cold water, too. The disrespect was off the charts. Harris went full savage mode. You want to keep those hands? Do your job. The maid froze, remembering the rumors about Harris snapping lately. The maid got in line real quick. Harris checked her closet, it was empty. All the drip usually went to her stepsister, leaving her with rags. But she didn't care. She snapped her fingers, and the rags turned into a storm of rose petals. The old, pathetic Harris is dead and gone. Suddenly, the butler barges in without knocking rude much. The boss wants to see you. Harris wasn't having any of that attitude. She replied, if he wants me, he can come to me. The staff gasped. She hit them with the "did I stutter? Get out." The maid thought Harris lost it. 3 seconds later, Dad stormed in, furious. Harris just laughed in his face, which made him go nuclear. Kido tried to play peacemaker, telling her to say sorry. Harris looked at them and said, I can't eat with you 2 around. You guys ruin my appetite. Dad snapped and tried to use his vines to slap her, yelling about respect. Harris was just like, are you serious right now? She stood up, walked over, and stomped on his vine with her heel. You never taught me anything. If I am rude, that is on your bad parenting. She dragged him for being a deadbeat dad. Now you want to act like a father? Too little, too late, old man. Dad tried to gaslight her again, claiming her pink hair meant she was weak and that Kido saved her yesterday. He wanted her to keep her mouth shut. Harris ignored him and walked to the balcony. She knew the drill. He would beat her or kill her to keep the secret. She has been there, done that. She stood on the edge, wind blowing in her hair. She wondered if jumping would finally prove her point. Her dad didn't even look worried. Cold-hearted. So she yeeted herself off the ledge. Dad ran over, expecting a splat, but found her chilling on a giant bed of red roses she created midair. The flowers were catching her like a safety net. Dad was shook. He remembered her first life when she fell and accidentally used magic. Back then, she apologized and let Kido take the credit. Dad screamed at her. Kido ignored her, and she became the family doormat. She spent years being Kido's shadow, helping him fake his powers. But one small mistake. Dad would beat her black and blue. Even when she waited all night in the cold to say sorry, Kido just shoved her away. She fell backward, hoping he would catch her. Spoiler, he didn't. That was the moment she snapped. The town thought she was crazy, wandering the castle in pajamas, but it kept the dad distracted with PR control. Back to now. The snake, Gabriella, is mad. She is losing attention. She puts on her fake nice girl mask and walks up to Harris. Oh, sis, there you are. She tries the guilt trip. I was sick. Why didn't you visit me? Usually, Harris would be begging for forgiveness right about now. Gabriella peeked to see if it worked, but Harris just gave her the death stare. Gabriella was terrified but kept acting because her fiancé was on the way. She was absolutely flexing that sparkly necklace, a birthday gift from her fiancé, acting all sweet like she wanted to let her big sister try it on. But Harris knew the game. The second she touched it, Gabriella would pull the ultimate Karen move, fake cry, and accuse her of theft. Harris wasn't having it. You're blocking my son, she deadpanned, and suddenly vines erupted from the floor. Next thing you know, the little drama queen is dangling upside down like a party decoration. Chris, Gabriella's fiancé, walked in right then. You'd think he'd help his girl, but when she screamed for help, he completely ghosted her. He walked right past the screaming girl, dropped to one knee in front of Harris, and started tucking her hair back. Meeting the new master of roses is an honor, he said. Miss Harris, come home with me. He didn't even acknowledge his fiancée screaming above his head. He looked like he just won the lottery. Harris looked at this dude like he was crazy, slapped his hand away without a word, and stood up. She walked off, leaving him there. Chris tried to chase her, but a massive wall of thorny roses slammed down, blocking his path. He stood there confused. Harris used to be into him. Did getting superpowers change her personality or something? Chris wasn't just feeling himself, he was legitimately confused. Harris used to have a massive crush on him. In her first life, she couldn't tell if this was a dream or reality, but Chris finding her now felt different. He felt some type of way about her situation. He was the heir to the Winter family and stuck in a political engagement with Gabriella. Even though Harris felt a spark, she reminded herself not to touch her sister's leftovers. But then this guy says he wants to take her away, that she's the one he wants to protect. For a split second, she almost let herself be greedy in this dream. So, like a fool, she reached for his hand, but looking back, he had an agenda. Chris only showed up whenever her powers awakened. He didn't care about her. He just wanted the powerful genetics for his future kids. She was overthinking it, and honestly, she was starving. Her maid, Roy, happily ran off to get food, but then her brother Kido stormed in looking for a fight. He wanted to scream at her for hurting Gabriella, but then he paused. Remembering that his sister had tried to jump off a building recently, his conscience kicked in, and he lowered his voice. Harris didn't blink. I didn't beat her. She was in my way, so I moved her. Kido lost it. He thought she was talking crazy. Everyone saw it. Gabriella was crying her eyes out. Harris let out a cold laugh. She decided it was time to show her brother what a real attack looked like. You want to see violence? As soon as she said it, vines shot past Kido like a bullet train. A massive boom shook the room as the wall behind him was punctured. Kido nearly wet his pants, face scratched, terrified for his life. Harris stared him down. Is that clear now? She used to adore her brother, but this was the same guy who pushed her down the stairs and begged her to die just to please his stepsister who wasn't even blood-related. Harris had been betrayed by this family for 7 lifetimes. She was done being the victim. Hearing her brother Bias whining, she decided to use her powers to teach him a permanent lesson. Kido stood there frozen. Was this his weak little sister? If he hadn't dodged, he would be dead right now. Harris felt zero sympathy. She realized practical demonstrations work better than words. Talking never worked with him anyway. Now you see, if I actually attacked Gabriella, there would be blood. But hey, even if I was the one bleeding, you wouldn't care, right? People only know pain when it hits their own skin. Her brother looked heartbroken, but frankly, that wasn't her problem anymore. Harris turned to her maid. I want to switch rooms. Now, the gossip reached Gabriella fast. When her maid told her that Kido got beat up trying to defend her, she started sweating bullets. This wasn't part of her script. Her brother was supposed to go yell at Harris, not get wrecked. The memory of dangling in the air came flooding back, and she was terrified. She was convinced Harris moved to her floor just to torment her. Her paranoia was off the charts. Suddenly, a noise came from the hallway. She shivered, opening the door, terrified it was Harris coming for round two. But it was just her dad. He had blocked the hallway with a rose wall to protect her. But instead of saying thank you, Gabriella started whining about a limited edition dress that was stuck on the other side of the wall. It was a one-of-a-kind dress, and that's all she cared about. Her dad looked at her, completely speechless. Her brother was injured defending her, and she was worried about fashion. He told her to cut it out, but Gabriella didn't know the meaning of gratitude. It's just a small scratch. Medicine will fix it, she shrugged. Her dad finally snapped. He had strictly forbidden outsiders, yet she brought Chris over and acted like a brat. She was hopeless. He laid down the law. She was absolutely forbidden from attending the upcoming ball. As he walked away, Gabriella stood there clueless, tears streaming down her face like a broken faucet. Meanwhile, on the other side of the rose wall, Harris was chill. She confirmed the time of the summer family's ball with her maid, May. Once she got the info, she headed back to her room. Even with the windows sealed shut, she didn't panic. May was just relieved to see her mistress so calm despite being locked in a room with no sunlight for 3 days. May was actually living her best life. Her boss was a bit scary but left her alone. She got free meals, long baths, and even secretly tried on Gabriella's clothes when no one was looking. Speaking of the summer family, they had a spoiled kid just like Gabriella. Today was his birthday, so the house would be packed. Since the young master was injured, he wouldn't be going. The only person who could go was the family head. But no one knew Harris had a plan. Dressed in pajamas and barefoot, she sprinted, jumped off the roof, and vanished into the night. She wasn't missing this party. She arrived at a dungeon, not a ballroom. It was already filled with bodies. Looked like she was a little late to the rescue. A few guards with knives jumped out, thinking a girl was an easy target. Big mistake. Vines shot out and silenced them in 3 seconds flat. Harris walked through the carnage like a ghost, heading deeper into the prison until she opened a heavy door. The room was filled with rubies. On a simple wooden bed lay a boy covered in scars. When he saw Harris, he didn't ask for help. He let out a breath and said, "Please, just kill me." This kid was a walking gold mine. One drop of blood turned into a ruby. One tear became a diamond. To the world, he was just a money tree. He was trapped, unable to live but not allowed to die. His name was Mao, the only heir to the Summer family and future king of Karya. But when he met Harris, he didn't beg for rescue. He begged for the sweet release of death. "Please, I'm begging you." Harris saw her past self in his eyes, that total helplessness. She agreed to his request. The boy cried tears of joy, realizing it was finally over. His tears hit the floor and turned into diamonds. Harris picked one up while the boy kept thanking her. "Don't thank me yet," she said. "If we get you to safety and you still want to die, I'll kill you then." She swallowed the diamond whole and shattered the chains on his wrists. "I'm Harris. Remember the name." She was about to carry Mao out when an uninvited guest crashed the party. The male lead appeared, radiating pure alpha energy. He was there to snatch the kid too. He caught the scent of roses in the air and immediately knew this woman was from the Inouyedan family. Since they were after the same thing, he suggested she hand the kid over. Harris gave him a side eye. "Why should I trust you?" He smirked. "I'm Zion, head of the Borgia family. My name carries weight." Harris didn't say a word. This was exactly like her last life. Back then, she accepted his help. But this time, she was riding solo. She opened her hand, activating her powers. "Sorry, catch you later." In a blink, she grabbed Mao and teleported into thin air. Meanwhile, the ball was in full swing, and Harris's dad was stressing out. His future son-in-law was complaining about being locked out of the house. The dad tried to blame Gabriella's mood swings, but then he boldly lied, claiming the rose power Harris awakened actually belonged to his son. But Chris wasn't stupid. He didn't care about the truth. He just wanted to swap wives. The old man felt totally disrespected. Breaking a family engagement just like that, he summoned his vines, ready to throw hands. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, Chris literally hits the brakes on his whole attitude because he saw Harris use her superpowers with his own 20/20 vision. But Pops, he's tripping, acting like a total boomer and denying everything right in front of the future father-in-law. The old man is obsessed with the patriarchy. He's just waiting for the day the son takes over the Inouyedan Empire so he can pop bottles. But joke's on him, his brain is stuck in the Dark Ages, thinking he can just ignore the obvious queen standing right there. He really thought he could just copy-paste the daughter's powers to the son, but spoiler alert, he's about to get cancelled. Suddenly, the vibe switches rose petals everywhere. Huge wind gust, total chaos at the party. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. Enter the queen. She drops in wearing pink pajamas, yes, PJ Couture holding a kid. Everyone's whispering like it's high school gossip hour. Who wears sleepwear to a gala? Only Chris clocks who she is immediately, while everyone else is confused. The lady in green is throwing shade until she sees a ruby drop. Boom. Realization hits, that kid isn't just some random. He's the lost VIP of the Karya family, the only heir left. The plot thickens, fam. Violetta calls out Harris's name. Happy birthday, bestie. Here's your present, a whole human child. Keep him safe. K. Then she pulls a magician act, turns into a cloud of rose petals, and dips out of the party. She goes to the party fast. Then Mr. Tall, dark, and broody shows up with some serious black energy. But oof, bad timing, my guy. You missed the show. The lady he was looking for has already left the building. The girl he wanted to see, gone. So he turns to the in-a-waiting dad and roasts him. My bad. Looks like while I was out, you actually found a successor. He's throwing salt in the wound and I am here for it. Now the whole world knows the son isn't the main character Harris is. The old man is shaking in his boots. The unloved daughter is about to make things incredibly awkward for everyone and his biggest nightmare is coming true. Pops is fuming because his son is the heir master plan just crashed and burned. Meanwhile, Harris is just chilling, eating her dinner like nothing happened. Unbothered queen energy right here. He slams the table, demanding answers. Harris looks at her spilled wine like, really? She hits him with, even a dog knows not to interrupt mealtime. You're so annoying. Literally drop dead. The sass is off the charts. I just dropped off a birthday gift. Chill. But Pops loses it and unleashes these massive vines to teach her a lesson. Please. Harris doesn't even flinch. She's seen worse on a Tuesday. Her vines clap back instantly. Suddenly, Dad realizes he's outmatched. It's like his Wi-Fi signal is dropping. His power is literally getting sucked out of him and he can't do anything about it. His roses turn into dried potpourri. Harris smirks. Turns out, she ate that Tears of Kia diamond earlier. Everyone thought it was just a buff, but they didn't know the cheat code she unlocked. If you actually eat the gem, you don't just get a stat boost, you steal other people's power. It's a top-secret Karya family hack that nobody else knew about, and she just played the ultimate card. Pops hits the floor, crying like a toddler. He can't believe he got owned. He didn't even need to name an heir. The family crest just naturally appeared on Harris. She's the captain now. She looks down at him like he's gum on her shoe. Look at you, actually being useful for once. You're trash, but keeping you as the figurehead works for me. Savage level, 1000. From now on, I run this show. You're just gonna work for me until you expire. The old man is terrified and can't say a word. He knows he just lost his spot at the head of the table. Then there's her brother Kido, reading the room all wrong. Apologize to Dad or else. Harris tilts her head. Or else what? What are you gonna do about it, tough guy? She's calling his bluff. Kido opens his mouth but has zero comeback. Total cringe. Harris lays down the law, I'm the boss. If you don't like it, there's the door. By Felicia. She knows he doesn't have the guts. The little green tea snake Gabriella is shaking. Harris remembers slaughtering this whole toxic family in her 7th life. Honestly, it just makes her nauseous now. She's over the drama. Why is she even catching feelings for these losers? She snaps out of it. This timeline, she's gonna clear her bucket list and finish the game properly. But first, she needs to get her drip right. Priority number 1, retail therapy. She needs a new wardrobe. Her butler Roy is down for it, but of course, Gabriella tries to crash the party, acting all sweet and fake. Oh, big sis, take a sweater, don't get sick. It's so fake it hurts. Roy's eyes are about to roll out of his head. Is this girl for real? She's trying way too hard to be besties. Then she hits Harris with the puppy dog eyes, asking for a tea date. Harris is like, do whatever you want, I literally don't care. Gabriella takes that as a yes, because she has zero social awareness. Roy asks if they should cancel the shopping trip. Harris says, nope, and stands up. Suddenly, a tornado of rose petals blasts Gabriella and Roy in the face. Talk about a dramatic exit. By the time they open their eyes, Harris is gone. She's out in the streets in her PJs again. The pajama rose girl is trending #1 in the entire empire. Iconic behavior. Even the main male lead is sliding into the fan club. He's been dreaming about a girl with a psycho smile like a literal serial killer smile, and somehow, he's totally into it. Weird flex, but okay. He realizes Harris is his dream girl. He wants to pull up to her house, but Violetta gives him a warning. Stay away from her. She's got bad news written all over her. Don't say I didn't warn you. Trust me, you'll regret it, Violetta says. But Axion loves the red flags. He's hyped. He just needs a solid excuse to knock on Harris's door and shoot his shot. Meanwhile, the sleeping beauty boy, Ma, finally wakes up after 2 weeks. He's traumatized and trusts nobody. Karya people have truth-seeing eyes, But he can't read Violetta yet because he's too panicked. He's freaking out, screaming for Harris. In his eyes, she was the only genuine person he's ever met. Total stan. He's looking at everyone else like they're ops. Violetta is stressed because Harris left her on read. Her cousin Axion sees an opening and decides to ignore all the rules. Let's take the kid to her. He's ready to crash the party. Violetta tries to stop him, but honestly, better to trust Harris than the creepy elders. Axion steps up, looking at the crying kid and the stressed cousin, seizing the moment. The vibe is heavy. The kid is shaking like a leaf. Axion hears they want to go find Harris and thinks, bet, this is my chance. He turns to Ma to drop some wisdom. He looks Ma in the eye, man to man. I swear on my family crest, I got your back. Since he's not a carrier, Ma checks his vibe to see if he's lying or keeping it 100. One look and Ma knows this guy is legit, no cap. He decides to trust him immediately, which is wild. All right, let's roll. The squad is assembling. Back to Harris, she messed up her teleport coordinates and landed straight inside a clothing store's changing room. The rich girls shopping there absolutely freak out. Excuse me, privacy? But Harris is loaded. She tells the staff, I'll take one of everything, custom fit, and put the damage I cause on my tab. That's how you handle a mistake like a boss. Send the bill to the Innovative Finance Department. The shop owner is weeping with joy. Harris doesn't stick around. Next stop is the Royal Palace. She's on a mission. This place is ancient, built by some demigod king. It's got 99 magic doors. Door 44 is the dungeon where Harris used to rot in a past life. Not going there today, thank you very much. She's here for door 99, the Four Seasons Forest. Usually, you need two-factor authentication from two family heads to open it. Harris pulls out the ruby from her pocket. This is exactly why she saved Ma to use him as a key, but just the gem might not work without the person. She's impatient though, so she's gonna try to brute force it anyway. Suddenly, Chris spawns in. It's meeting day for the families. He sees Harris in her PJs again and immediately wraps his coat around her. Always the gentleman, or maybe just nosy. If you catch a cold, it'll break my heart. He sounds exactly like Gabriella with the cheesy lines. Why is everyone in this universe such a drama queen? Harris is over it. Harris brushed the dust off her jacket and gave him a look that said, boy, bye. Sorry, Chris, but I'm not going back to that house with you. The dude really thought he could pull a fast one. Come on, babe, come home. You're the only one for me. Yeah, right. He figures anything easy to get is easy to trash. He knows Harris has daddy issues and craves affection, so he played the hero, offering her a home and the warmth she never had. Harris was totally blinded by the love bombing, thinking she was the luckiest girl alive. Even if people called her a simp, she didn't care. As long as she had love, she was good. She poured her whole soul into Chris. And what did she get? Just the cold shoulder and a truckload of lies. Chris kept her on a pedestal only because he needed her to breed a powerful hybrid baby. Basically, once the kid drops, Harris is officially useless to him. Might even get taken out. She overheard the whole evil plan and was terrified. But then Chris walked in like nothing happened, all fake concern. You heard that, right? Yeah, he left the door open on purpose. He figured, even if she knew, she'd still stick around like a fool in love. Sometimes, the more you lower yourself, the deeper the cut. But this time, I actually hate you, she said. Harris is done. Zero ties left with this clown. Chris looked confused. Just a minute ago, she was looking at him with hard eyes. Guess I finally woke up, she said. And with that, Harris activated her ability, bursting into a cloud of rose petals and vanishing right in front of his face. Chris is the type who wants what he can't have. Rejected twice by the same woman, he wasn't even mad. In fact, he was starting to legitimately fall for her. Toxic much? Harris made it back home to find a whole squad waiting for her: Violetta, Aaron, and Violetta's cousin fiancé, Tezo. Little Mark saw Harris and went full koala mode, diving into her arms and holding on for dear life. Violetta felt bad. She wanted to pay her respects to the head of the Innovative family first. Don't sweat it, Harris said. From now on, I'm the one running this show. She dropped the news calmly. Everyone was shocked, but nobody argued. Harris was more curious about Zion. Why was he rolling with the Karya crew? Zion flashed a $1 million grin. He just came to say hey. Since Harris spilled the tea back at the dungeon, the whole point of this trip was to give little Mark some sense of security. The kid had zero trust in his own fam. Mark's mom was Violetta's sister, who got kicked out for refusing an arranged marriage, eventually going missing, and having a kid off the grid. Violetta pulled out a locket with her sister's photo, trying to jog Mark's memory, but the kid was blank. Didn't even know his mom's name. Violetta felt a sting in her chest. What kind of hell did this kid survive? She grabbed Mark's hand. Listen, no one's gonna bully you ever again. I'll protect you with my life. She hoped Mark would give her a chance, but the kid was torn. He couldn't tell if she was capping or real. He turned and whispered to Harris. They had a secret pact. Harris hadn't forgotten. Mark goes back to Caria to try a new life, and if he still wants to check out early, she promised to be the one to end him. Mark didn't know Harris's deal, or why she saw weird stuff, but he felt she was the only one who truly got him. If you think I should go, I'll go. Mark saw a light at the end of the tunnel, and tears started falling again because Harris agreed to return to Caria. Turns out, the kid's name is Mark. Zion bent down and picked up a diamond from the floor. He'd been watching Harris since the dungeon. She knew the kid's exact GPS location and his name way before anyone else. Miss Harris, care to explain? These aren't normal tears. They're happy tears that only drop for people he cares about. Eat one, and you get a massive power boost. That's a top-secret Caria family trait. Even the source of the tears, the magia, is unknown to outsiders. Yet here's Harris, saving him with surgical precision without breaking a sweat. It was suspicious. Everyone wondered if she pocketed some gems, but no one can lie in front of the truth eyes. But Harris was chill. She stumbled upon Mark by accident and legitimately didn't stash any diamonds. Violetta was still a bit skeptical. But hey, the girl saved her nephew, so she owed her one. Harris didn't expect to cash in that favor so fast. She wanted an invite to the Four Seasons forest and the palace, but that requires a family head escort. Problem is, the Caria boss is sick and probably won't say yes. Harris played it cool on the outside, saying no pressure, but inside she was panicking. What if they say no? She has to get into that forest, whatever the cost. Why drag the sick uncle along? Zion, the male lead, was confused. If you just need an escort, ain't I the best option? The three of them had zero history, but right now they looked like a little family unit. Harris had only met Zion once at a dance when she was 12. He was 15 back then, already the boss of the Belgis family. He had this icy aura that scared the daylights out of her. They didn't really talk back then, but Harris had no reason to say no now. Since she took over, her dad's been bedridden, her brother locked himself in his office, and Gabriella is still acting like a spoiled brat. Don't worry, sis, she told Gabriella. I'll handle dad and bro. Everything was set. She sent the memo to the four families. Inoaden has a new CEO. Time flew, and suddenly, it was the day of the appointment. Harris looked at the guy standing on the stairs, feeling a mix of emotions. It felt exactly like her past life, just swap the roles. Zion felt the déjà vu too. The scent of roses coming off, Harris screamed danger, but he kind of liked it. It didn't stop him from grabbing her hand to enter the Four Seasons forest. Two family heads need physical contact to get in. My sister never got to see this place, he muttered. Well, let's do this. The second their hands touched, Chris showed up out of nowhere, looking like someone stole his lunch money. He was furious seeing them together. Zion tightened his grip on Harris's hand. Let's roll. They walked out with total swagger, completely ignoring Chris. It looked like they were a couple, and Chris was boiling with rage. But frankly, not Harris's problem anymore. She just wanted to find a way to permanently delete herself. In her 7th life, a best friend told her about the Four Seasons forest. There's a book there with the history of the 4 families and some forbidden texts hidden away. Maybe, just maybe, it has the cheat code to stop her reincarnation loop. But back then, she wasn't a family head, so she died without ever getting in. This time, she finally made it. But why does this place have to be so gorgeous? She's here to plan her death, not sightsee. Zion loosened his tie, and honestly, it was a total first trap moment. The guy looks fierce and untouchable, but he's actually a sweetheart and knows how to charm a lady. He heard Harris wanted to visit the forest, so obviously, he tagged along. He gave her the full tour, pointing out the 5 doors, which ones open, which ones are locked, and where the lounge is. Harris could feel his vibe. He was way warmer than his cold exterior suggested. You're actually a good guy, she said. That hit Zion right in the feels. It was probably the first time anyone ever told him that. But honestly, Harris didn't care about the romance. She's on her 8th life and just wants to find the endgame button. She flipped through the records of past family heads. It was all useless complaints about friends, flexing about lovers, or just aristocratic bragging contests. Literally zero helpful info. On her way out, she spotted the Summer Clan's archive room. She remembered Zion's warning. Don't go in without the clan leader's permission. But forbidden rooms usually hide the best loot, right? Maybe the answer is in there. She reached out, and sure enough, a lightning barrier activated. But the more dangerous it is, the more she wants to try. Harris used her powers to fight back. Instantly, sparks flew everywhere, sizzling in the air. Zion suddenly yanked her back from behind, his face dead serious. He warned her he once ignored a guide's advice too, and it didn't end well. Sparks are flying everywhere like fireworks. Sizzle. Pop. Suddenly, Ion yanks her back from behind, looking dead serious. He's like, "Yo, watch out." He learned the hard way last time he ignored his squad's advice and got absolutely wrecked. Even though she was banged up, Harris kept moving. But the guy rolling with her? Absolute nightmare fuel. Every time he glanced at someone, they froze in terror. Harris, being the nosy teen she is, was dying to know his deal. But the second he heard the letter G, he burst out laughing. And not a nice laugh, we're talking deep, mocking laughter aimed right at her dad. It was shade thrown from the bottom of his soul, like he'd seen something truly cursed. Just as they were about to bounce, Harris spotted some graffiti on a tombstone nearby. It read, "Yo, anyone stepping into the king's crib needs to prove they're the chosen one." Harris, having the impulse control of a toddler, decided she had to test it herself. She started mumbling under her breath, and Sean immediately got a bad vibe. His spidey senses were tingling hard. Sure enough, when he whipped around, Harris had already snipped a lock of her hair. When the hair didn't trigger anything, she went straight for the extreme option. Before Sean could even yell, "Stop," she sliced her hand. Drip, drip. Blood hit the stone. Sean grabbed her wrist, panicking. "What is your problem? What are you doing?" Harris looked at him like he was the crazy one. "I was just curious. Chill." Sean felt a pang in his chest. Does she really have to test everything by hurting herself? She noticed he was worried about getting blood on his suit and told him to let go, claiming it would heal on its own. He sighed, shaking his head. "You are literally the most stressful person ever." He yanked his black tie off his neck, total power move, and started wrapping her hand. "Sorry about this." He bandaged her up like a pro. "I'm just a nice guy, okay? Don't overthink it." But how could she not? From this moment on, the drama between these two was only going to get deeper. By the time they walked out, it was golden hour. Sunset vibes. Then Sean dropped a bombshell that shook her to her core. "Hey, have we met here before? Like, right here. At sunset, just the two of us?" He looked down, maybe realizing how crazy he sounded. Harris unconsciously clenched her fist. Did she hear that right? Or does Sean also have memories from their past life? She couldn't keep her cool anymore. She needed to get out of there, fast. "You're probably confusing me with someone else," she stammered, mumbled a quick thanks, and ghosted him immediately. Sean stood there, looking disappointed. Confusing her? Really? But let's rewind to the family trauma. Sexism had basically wrecked her entire family. When the daughter awakened the family's genetic superpowers, the dad went full psycho. He wanted his son to be the heir, so he forced his daughter to drink this sketchy medicine every day. The goal? To siphon her powers and give them to her brother. Our main girl, Harris, just wanted her dad to love her, so she took the meds. Even though the liquid was a suspicious bright red and gave her bad vibes, her dad swore it was the only way. "It's to help your brother," he'd say. Even if it was poison, she would have taken it. At first, she felt her power fading and actually felt relieved, but then her body started crashing. She got weaker by the day, getting nosebleeds if she even moved too fast. She was basically dying, but her dad didn't care. He only checked to see if her magic was still active. He'd grab a handful of medicine and shove it down her throat. "This is blood I worked hard to get. Don't waste a single drop." That's when Harris realized the truth. It wasn't medicine. It was Carrie's blood, her brother's blood. Her body couldn't handle the raw magic, and finally, she died on a freezing cold morning. That was Harris's tragic ending in her third life. She thought she was the only one playing New Game Plus with her memories, but Sean's comment about meeting before had her spiraling. Have we met here? That question messed with her head. If it's true, she needs to stay far away from him. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, an invitation for Harris to take over as family head arrived at her dad's desk. He went ballistic on his son, Chris. "You useless waste of space. Why did you pick Gabriella? She's a nobody." He threw a bottle of ink right at Chris. Chris stood there, covered in ink, listening to the rant. He was annoyed, sure, but not mad. "Wait, didn't you pick my wife, Dad?" Chris thought. But he played the role of the dutiful son. The old man kept screaming, "If you had listened to me and married earlier, I'd have grandkids by now." Chris flashed a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "I didn't want to just grab any random wife. Imagine if I had a kid as disappointing as you, Dad. That would be a disaster." Boom. Roasted. "From now on, call me Big Brother, not Dad." The father exploded, grabbing a bottle of red wine and smashing it. Smash. The maid didn't even flinch. Just another Tuesday at the Winter family estate. The dad was always sick, physically and mentally. He couldn't even have his own kids, so he adopted a brother to be the heir. Chris never respected him. But then Gabriella showed up, and suddenly Harris is the boss. Chris realized he messed up. He dumped Gabriella, but Harris. She's out here getting carried around like a princess, even with a sprained ankle. Suddenly, Harris is the leader of Aino Aiden, and Chris is blindsided. He thought about how they entered the Four Seasons forest together earlier. He'd never felt so threatened. Harris is now a clan leader, and he's basically a nobody. He realized he needs to level up and get on her level. The guy is plotting something big. Meanwhile, after Harris sent out her letters, a bunch of random relatives suddenly appeared. She wanted the butler to kick these clout chasers out. She called them a pack of dogs looking for scraps, but they barged in anyway. Harris, darling, you look so healthy. They walked in like they paid the rent, showering her with fake compliments. We always knew you'd be the one to bloom. I always loved you like my own daughter. And that rude butler tried to kick us out. You need to fire him. The audacity. These people used to ignore her and suck up to Carrie. Just then, a servant announced a VIP arrival. The head of the Ferrano family was here. The Ferranos were top tier, way above the usual hangers-on. The relatives assumed he was there for Diego. Harris told the servant to show him in. The relatives got salty immediately. Are you ignoring us? We're family. Harris let out a cold laugh. You barged in without my permission, and now you're calling me rude? Her face went ice cold. Get out. Now. Before I make you. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Sean's mom, probably the most dramatic woman alive, was crying to her son. She usually dumps all the family stress on him. She was hiding in his office because she fought with her husband, but she had a mission. The elders want you to marry Harris. If you don't want to marry, fine, but at least date someone. I gave birth to such a handsome son. It's a waste if you don't date. Sean looked at his mom like, here we go again. But when she mentioned marriage, he had to admit, Harris was special. He put his work down. Maybe it was time to go wife hunting. Back at Harris's place, the relatives were giving her a migraine. They wouldn't leave and kept yapping. Just then, Norton, the Ferrano leader, walked in. He saw the circus and apologized, trying to leave. Harris stopped him. Hold up. She scribbled a quick authorization note. From now on, I appoint you as my temporary proxy. She stamped it with her official seal. Everyone gasped. Norton dropped to one knee instantly. I am at your service, my new spring queen. Accepting that paper meant he had the highest authority under her. He was super respectful. The relatives, furious. How can you give this fat gig to an outsider? This is outrageous. They were making so much noise, Harris couldn't think. So, she used her powers. Vines shot out, tied them up, and yeeted them out the door in seconds. If you disrespect me again, she warned, it won't end this nicely. She felt Norton was the perfect candidate for a proxy. She wouldn't take no for an answer. Whether in her past life or this one, Norton was the only one who kept it real. He was always respectful and never played favorites. Truth is, Harris only fought for the leader position so she could find an easier way to die. Norton, shaking with emotion, promised not to let her down. He had no idea she picked him just because she found the job annoying. Suddenly, Diego came storming in, screaming, You met with outsiders without my permission? I'm not dead yet. He felt betrayed by his own family. Ignoring everyone trying to stop him, he burst into the living room, shouting curses at Harris. But the second he stepped in, he froze. Why was Sean there? Sean claimed he was just there to schedule a meeting with Harris. That was a terrible lie. You can do that via email, bro. Why drive all the way here? But Sean was worried Harris wouldn't reply to a letter, so he rushed over. Roy, the eavesdropper, was loving this tea. These two definitely had something going on. Sean had been pacing around his mansion since he got back. He even put on a tie for this. He wasn't just there to schedule a meeting. He was there to check on her hand. He heard she didn't call a doctor. His face softened. I know you think I'm weird, but I couldn't help worrying about you. Harris tried to look chill, but inside, her heart was doing cartwheels. The tension in the room skyrocketed. Diego clearly didn't get the memo, crashing the party and turning the vibe colder than a slushie. Zion's like, Bro, why are you even here? I should honestly rock your jaw right now. Then he cracks a grin. Sup, ex-boss? You look mad. Calling him ex-boss was a total power move, but honestly, the guy is washed up. Word on the street was he caught a flu or something, but now he's up and about. Too bad he decided to fumble the recovery by annoying us. Zion, who was looking like a total snack, by the way, goes full defensive lineman for his wifey. He starts roasting his father-in-law with zero chill, basically telling the old man to hit the bricks. Savage. Diego had no choice but to take the L and walk away. Imagine trying to flex on your own family and getting dunked on. Harris is loving this content. Seeing her toxic dad look stupid is giving her life right now. Those two are definitely serving couple goals. Anyway, Harris pulls up to visit Ren, the OG clan leader, since the lady is getting old and wanted a guest. The second Harris walks in, Little Mars sprints at her like a wide receiver going for a touchdown. Ren feels super guilty she couldn't back Harris up at the Four Seasons Forest, especially since Harris saved her grandson. She's hinting that she wants Harris to bond with Mar, probably scouting for a granddaughter-in-law before the draft picks open. Before dipping, little Mar tugs Harris's sleeve and whispers in her ear like he's sharing a cheat code. "I won't snitch. If you need my blood, take it. Just for you, though." Kid thinks he's offering a secret menu item. He's talking about that time Harris drank the tears, weird flex, but okay. Harris appreciates the hustle, but she's good. Meanwhile, Violetta is side-eyeing the whole situation. They've never met, but Harris is acting like they're besties. Harris is dropping names and telling Violetta to protect Mar like she's reading from a script Violetta hasn't seen yet. It's sus, but Violetta can't bring herself to ask. She just wants to slide into Harris's friend circle anyway. Suddenly, Tezo and the board of directors crash the party. These old dudes start glazing Harris immediately, especially when they find out she's only 19. It looks like they're trying to recruit a star player. Harris realizes these dusty geezers are trying to ship her with Mar, a literal child. She's like, "Sorry, I got a blast." The elders try to block her exit until Violetta goes beast mode and makes them back off. They make Tezo walk Harris out, which is awkward since he's technically Violetta's fiancé Messi. But the drama doesn't stop there. The Holy Grail, gone. Poof. Like a sock in the dryer. This cup was a gift from the king to the Inawadan leader. Basically the family's championship ring passed down for generations. You need it for the inauguration ceremony, so losing it is a major fumble. Nobody knows what to do. The thing was locked in the vault, and the only people with the keys are Harris and Kido. Given the family history, it doesn't take a detective to figure out who pulled this heist. Harris heads to her dad's office but ignores him completely total ghost mode. She walks straight to the bookshelf, twists a green box like a hidden lever, and click. A secret room opens up. Boom. Dad's face hits the floor. He never told a soul about this spot. Harris knows it, though this is the dungeon where he kept her locked up in her past lives. Doesn't matter how many times she respawns, this place is still gross. Sure enough, the grail is stashed there. Harris laughs at how pathetic he is. Did he really think hiding a cup would cancel the celebration? Diego is shaking like a leaf, yelling, "That title isn't yours." He's still in denial, refusing to accept the scoreboard. Harris shuts him down cold. "Everything in Inowadan belongs to me now." She's taking the whole franchise. Kido realizes his stock is crashing. He has zero leverage, so he tries a Hail Mary pass. "If you can't find a husband, just marry me." The family drama is spicy, but honestly, the girls' vibe is way better. Speaking of girls, there's Cordelia, Violetta's childhood ride or die. For the sake of her clan, she's stuck in a political marriage with Violetta's cousin, Vincent. Vincent is a nice guy, but Violetta is heartbroken for her bestie. It's the classic tragedy of being born rich. You don't get to pick your teammate for life. Violetta grabs Cordelia's hand like, "Whatever you choose, just be happy." But low-key, she's thinking, "If you regret it, let's just run away together." Yo, author, just make them canon already. Anyway, Violetta recently befriended the new Inowadan boss, Harris. They click instantly, which is making Cordelia super jealous. It's a whole love triangle out here. While the girls are vibing, nobody cares about the other loser in the room. The elders wanted Mar to marry Harris, but since he's a kid, Tezo became the backup quarterback, which is wild. Tezo was supposed to marry Violetta, but in these elite families, switching partners is just business as usual. Mar showing up ruined Tezo's original game plan, and the guy is clearly up to no good. He's still holding onto some of that special Kalia blood, thinking about people living in the sunlight while he grins like a supervillain. A nasty plot is brewing in the background. Back in Inowadan Castle, footsteps echo in the hall. Harris notices something weird about the Holy Grail. It looks like something is moving inside the liquid. She suspects it has a hidden feature. She wonders, what if I inject my superpowers into this bad boy? So she sends her energy in, but nothing. Big fat zero. Besides looking fancy, the cup seems useless. Then Norton shows up with his son, Enric, to report on business. Since Norton was away, the kid steps up. Suddenly, Enric covers his nose and blushes hard. "Did you use divine power just now?" Harris is confused. Is that a problem? She didn't realize the scent lingering on her was hitting people that hard. It reminds her of when Zion said her scent was dangerous. Talk about pheromones. Speak of the devil or think of him and Roy appears. He's holding a clean tie, the one Zion used to bandage her up earlier. Harris realizes she totally forgot to return the equipment. Roy suggests buying a new one, but remembering Zion's concerned face makes Harris want to run for the hills. Some memories are better left on the bench. She doesn't want to deal with those feelings. Since Harris took over as head coach, Kido's role has been cut. He shows up at a noble's party, and the vibe is weirder than a silent disco. He's stressed until his buddy Oman hypes him up. Oman tries to get him to try some new wine, But Kido isn't really a drinker at these events. He's trying to keep his guard up, but the peer pressure is real. Then Amon drops a bomb. Can we still call you the Rose Prince? He throws shade, adding, since you don't own the roses anymore. That line hit Kido harder than a linebacker. He's stunned. In the old days, nobody mentioned Harris. Now, she's trending. Everyone is fighting to meet her and asking Kido to plug them in. It's a total role reversal, and Kido is losing it. Amon sees Kido looking salty and says, no offense, bro, you're still our main guy. Yeah, right. The sarcasm is heavy. Kido realizes that no matter how many times he respawns, trash people stay trash. This timeline, Harris is the MVP. Invites are stacking up, including one from Almon and Elena for their one-year engagement anniversary. That date is going to be a major event. Tick-tock, it's 11 p.m. game time. Down in a secret basement filled with oil, cages are packed with red-eyed monsters. Someone orders a cleanup before the Kia and B-Jet clans sniff them out. They're trying to delete the evidence. Suddenly, footsteps approach. Before the goons can even react, two guys get deleted from the server instantly. Dead. Harris looks at the ferocious beasts in the cages and actually feels bad for them. She knows that without Kalia's blood, they wouldn't be bugging out like this. It hits close to home. She remembers her fourth life. Her dad was kinda chill back then, so she told him the truth about her time loops. But he looked at her like she was crazy. You're losing it, he said. He didn't believe her and locked her up. Just like in the third life when he found Kalia's blood, Harris warned him, that's poison, Dad. It'll kill me. She begged him not to make her repeat the nightmare. Harris held onto a sliver of hope, but reality slapped her in the face. Dad didn't care if she was lying or dying. He basically said, even if it kills you, it proves the drug works. Do it for the clan. He said it so casually, like he was asking her to take out the trash. Obviously, Harris wasn't going to drink that poison willingly this time. She hoped if it failed, he'd give up. But nope. The maids pinned her down, and her dad lost his patience. He injected Kalia's blood straight into her veins. The worst part? The method actually worked. Pure tragedy. She starts glitching out. Gabriella visits her, totally freaked, face pale as a ghost. Everyone at the mansion is labeling her a straight-up monster. She's hurting bad, begging her big bro Kido for a solid. He just ghosts her, saying he'll figure something else out. Harris appreciates the thought, but homegirl died without him visiting once. Talk about toxic. She can only blame herself for being a dummy. Maybe these demon beasts are just waiting for a hero. But nah, they gotta go. I'm handing out express tickets to the afterlife. Vines wrapped tight around the beasts. These things are twisted freaks made from Karia's blood. They got that immortal buff, but there's a glitch. Smash the Karia core inside, and it's a one-shot kill. According to her past life memory card, the Belgia's squad is gonna roll up on this spot fast. Mutant monsters cause major drama. She doesn't want this messing with her master plan, but hey, if she wipes, there's always the next respawn. It's getting boring waiting around. By the time Sion pulls up, it's just a smoking pile of rubble. They worked hard to find this location, but someone torched the evidence on purpose. Looking at those giant crispy critters, Sion gets a weird vibe he can't quite place. He spots the shattered core real quick so fire didn't take them out. The scene right in front of him gives him major déjà vu. There's a lingering scent of Harris's roses in the air. Is it a trap? Or did she actually pull up? Looks like he needs to go full detective mode. Meanwhile, the little pick-me girl went from happy-go-lucky to total sad sack today. She ran into Omen and Helena. Turns out Harris is hitting up their engagement bash. Gabriella is totally losing clout because she didn't get the memo or an invite. Helena plays the nice girl card, inviting her right there. We want everyone to come show us love. Yeah, right. Just as Gabriella is about to say yes, they hit her with, if it's too awkward, don't sweat it. Scared to be seen with your sis? She's getting roasted by Helena. Not having that Innovaden DNA is becoming her biggest insecurity. She's blinking back tears, about to have a total meltdown. Alice loves me. She's done talking to these trolls, but their trash talk keeps echoing from behind. Even though Harris can be a fake snake, she's kinda looking pathetic right now. Fast forward to party night. Harris is the main character everyone's gossiping about. She's rocking an off-shoulder pink gown with a white shawl, absolute stunner. The rich girls are chirping like birds, and Harris is already finding the noise level way too high. Enric hits her with a polite bow. He's shook that the boss lady actually remembers his name. He tries to take her shawl, all eager, but Harris gives him the side eye. This is what the help is supposed to do. It's my job. Harris hands it over anyway. Don't make a habit of it. Can I be a little greedy then? Tonight, I want to stick by your side. Enric is really pushing his luck. Harris is over it. Luckily, Chris shows up to crash the party, but he's just as annoying. He and Enric are on the same wavelength, bringing up their last hangout. Get home safe? He gives Enric a smug look, but gets shut down instantly. The Belgia's leader handled it. Harris isn't giving anyone brownie points today. The three of them look super awkward when Helena and her hubby spot them. You guys on a triple date? Just a coincidence. Harris stresses that word hard. The party kicks off with weird vibes. Harris used to be invisible. Now everyone's kissing up to her. Keeping that fake smile on is exhausting. Just like the last run-through, Violetta and Cordelia showed up. Of course, the coming disaster involves those two. Violetta's been dying to see Harris, but they barely swap 2 words before Harris dips. Chris is looking just as bummed out. Harris drops Sion's name on purpose. Being that cozy with a subordinate, Chris was already salty. Then Gabriella corners him. She starts nagging him for ghosting her on the party invite. So embarrassing. We broke up. Remember? We're done. Chris has 0 regrets. He tells her to go home before she makes a bigger fool of herself. Gabriella is literally frozen in shock. She had no clue. She grabs Chris. You're just mad, right? Just joking, Dad said. Chris is ice cold. His mood is trash today. Keep this up and you'll look pathetic. This family. Dad plays favorites, and the brother is just as bad. Hearing a thud, he thinks of his non-biological sister. Tonight's bash is thrown by his buddy Omen. He didn't even want to come no invite anyway, but Daddy Dearest forced him to spy on Harris. He only cares about Gabriella, though. While looking for her, he bumps into Omen and offers some fake congrats. Omen's beaming. Kido, forgetting the last disaster, tries to say hi to the parents. Big mistake. He realizes it instantly. Omen's like, bro, don't go over there. Harris is here. He claims he's looking out for him. I don't want you becoming the laughingstock of my engagement party. Even a moron could hear the shade in that voice. Kido is livid. Years of friendship wasted on this guy. Suddenly, a noise erupts from the yard. Omen panics and runs to find his girl. Then comes a blood-curdling scream. Kido freezes. That sounds exactly like Gabriella. While they were chatting, the garden was bumping. But now, Helena rings a bell. Eyes on me, everyone. She wants to show off a special gift for the special day. Seems basic, but Sion's spidey senses are tingling. Rumor has it, it's a rare monster. Everyone's curious. Helena lifts the red tarp. Isn't it cute? Nope. Not even close. That giant thing has a bloody maw and is staring right at her. Next second, it smashes the cage. A roar shakes the sky, and the crowd scatters like roaches. Chris has never seen a beast this huge. Too many civilians, so he just blasts it with ice to freeze it. Thought that handled it, but not even 3 seconds later. The beast shatters the ice. It locks onto Violetta. She's stuck in place, watching it charge. Don't. Cordelia reaches out, terrified. It's crunch time. Suddenly, black energy slams the beast's mouth shut. It can't fight back, but Sion can't land the killing blow either. The more it struggles, the nastier it gets. What's the play here? Suddenly, the beast screeches. Some mysterious force just crushed its core. Sion recognizes that power immediately. It's the Belgia's boss Harris. She pops up and praises Sion for the kill. But everyone knows that finishing move had innovative energy written all over it. Harris won't admit it, leaving Sion confused. She turns to leave, but he grabs her hand on impulse. That weird electric feeling hits him again, like finding a missing puzzle piece. His heart is pounding. I'm coming to your place tomorrow. The wind catches Harris's hair. She's scowling, but she looks gorgeous. Suit yourself. He lets go, and she walks. Then Kido starts screaming Gabriella's name, frantic. Turns out she bailed ages ago. He relaxes, but Sion catches the whole scene. Looking at you, you think Iwaden only had one daughter. The crowd is whispering. Kido turns bright red, but still doesn't ask about Harris. Sion feels a pang of sympathy. He knew her dad was cold, but her only brother too? Harris fights to survive more than anyone, yet always flirts with death. In her 5th life, Harris ran for the hills. Her dad chased her down. She didn't know where she was going, just that she refused to become a monster again. She loved her family to death, but they made her life a living hell. Living in straight up hell. Homegirl sprints to the streets and nearly gets flattened by a carriage. But guess who steps out? Princess Violetta from the Carrier Squad. Talk about a first encounter. Harris hits the pavement, brain trying to buffer. Face looks familiar, but the file is corrupted. She's terrified, but the girl reaches out like a literal angel offering a life raft. Save me, she pleads. Violetta senses bad vibes immediately. But then, jump scare pops up behind them like, party's over, let's go home. Harris starts shaking like a leaf. She's terrified of the torture waiting at home. She tries to use her powers to defend herself, but her battery is drained and she blacks out. Wakes up back in the dungeon. Same old story, forced to drink the Carrier Kool-Aid. literally their blood. But this time, Daddy Dearest locks her in his secret panic room. Stay put, he says, sealing her away. It's so quiet, you can't even tell time passes. Total sensory deprivation. Just when she's ready to rage quit life, a voice cuts through the darkness. Hope has entered the chat. Axion to the rescue. I got you, he says. No matter how many times she respawns, she'll never forget this moment. Life number 5 was the start of their whole situation. If Violetta hadn't existed, Harris would have rotted there. So, at the dance, when Harris slayed that monster, that was just paying off her karmic credit card bill from the past life. Original plotline, Carria gets clawed, saving Violetta. Violetta loses an eye. The monster was made from Carria blood, so it hated that family with a burning passion. Even in a mosh pit, the monster locked onto Violetta instantly. Harris felt that she hated that family with every fiber of her being too. Axion, meanwhile, is totally out of the loop. Axion rushes to Harris's crib. Diego, having zero chill, blocks him. Why are you chasing my daughter? I heard y'all went to the forest alone. Scandalous much? He's acting like a protective dad, but really, he's just trying to gatekeep Harris from the forest. Axion freezes, wondering how to deal with this boomer logic. It's laughable. Harris actually cracks up. You never gave a damn about me, now you're playing Father of the Year? Diego tries to spin it, but Harris stands up. He thought she'd play along for the guest, but nope. Stop embarrassing my guest, old man. You don't have the clearance. After 7 lives of abuse, she's done. She's emotionally numb. 8th life, she steals the head of house title, but Dad's still trying to siphon her power to her brother. He thinks she wants to strip his powers. Paranoid much? He tries to lecture her in front of company, telling her to stay out of the forest. Gets shut down immediately. Embarrassing. He gets mad, tries to backhand her out of habit. Oops, he slaps his golden boy son instead. Plot twist of the century. The brother, usually an NPC in the background, takes the hit. Sorry, Dad's glitching out. The brother's apology ends the circus. Harris, stone cold. She doesn't even flinch, just makes Axion look bad. She tells Axion, whatever, let's link up later. Suddenly, he grabs her hand. I swear on my name, I will never hurt you, directly or indirectly. That's a magical blood oath, fam. If he breaks it, the backlash will wreck him. Serious business. He drops this heavy vow just to chill her out. You're gonna regret that, she smirks. Meanwhile, Dad just exposed family secrets and blamed everyone else. Clown behavior. Brother tells Dad to go to his room like a naughty toddler. Dad's spooked by Harris's words, feeling like she's about to pull a pro-gamer move. And he's right, he crossed the line. Harris activates her spring powers and sets up a barrier around his 200-square-meter bedroom. Anyone can leave, but Dad is stuck. Don't worry, you'll get used to the cage. I did. She drops that mic and walks away, leaving him with nothing. Cold. Dad doesn't believe it, tries to chase her, bam, face plants into an invisible wall. She wasn't playing. He's never seen magic like this before. Fast forward to the forest date. Harris shows up early, but Axion is already there, crashed out on the sofa. Waiting like a loyal puppy, he's been resting but thinking about her. He wonders what she's always looking for in the Spring family archives. Remembers their first meetup and the forest trip. You're really intense, she'd said. He feels weird, why is he only simping for this one girl? The succession party's coming up. He starts daydreaming about being her date, walking and holding hands. He catches himself smiling like a goofball, just totally delusional in love. Harris sees him sleeping. She was going to ask about secret rooms, but he looks so peaceful she can't bring herself to wake him. She checks the shared archives instead. She opens a random book and boom, major lore drop. The first king, a mix of light and dark, ruled the land. But the 4 families got greedy. To keep the king's power, they ate his heart after he died. Gross and creepy. No other info, though. She goes to wake Axion up to leave. He looks like he's having a night terror, mumbling, don't go. He grabs her hand tight. For once, Harris's poker face breaks. Axion wakes up shocked, staring at her palm. Where's the scar? In his dream, she sliced her hand open. He thought she was losing it, but, surprise, she summons the king. Black hair, pink eyes, looking totally over it. Harris is shook, the spirit looks exactly like her. It's a remnant of the king, who's been waiting for the last Inoidan. Harris is scared but hopeful. Do you know what I'm looking for? The answer is a nightmare. She's the last spring leader. No kids for her or Ricardo. To keep the line going, she's stuck in a time loop. She can never die, just respawn. Why me? She just wants to know why her life is a glitchy mess. Can't live, can't die. She's done with this server. The king sees the first spring leader in her. Back in the day, she would have laughed at her enemy's descendants suffering. But time changes things. Truth bomb. There weren't 14 kings, just one. The first was the last. The four families betrayed her, chopped her up, and ate the pieces. She died in agony and became the only divinity left. If Harris wants to break the curse, she needs to find this divinity. It turns the impossible into possible. Harris is wrecked. Today is supposed to be her big promotion day. She's wearing a dress worth 300 billion, but runs into the brother she hates. He seriously wants to be her date. She's like, hard pass. He tries to guilt trip her. Do you know how hard this is for me? I'm your brother. Harris doesn't get why she should care, but she has an idea. You care about family reps so much? Fine. You can walk behind me. He clearly hates it, so she calls his bluff. Don't fake it. I never expected anything from you anyway. Savage. Yo, check this out. We are in the U.K. Inside this super bougie banquet hall. Harris steps onto the scene looking absolutely fire-like, main character energy. Nobody dares to roast her for showing up solo. Quite the opposite, actually. Two other major families send their blessings, keeping it classy. But then the heir of Pennon shows up late and kills the vibe. He grabs her hand immediately, looking super possessive, like she is mine, back off. Harris is not having it. She downs her drink in one gulp, just wanting this awkward encounter to end. Little did she know, that was not just any wine. It was the special stuff meant for the official takeover of Inowaden. She is 2 glasses in and already feeling dizzy. She remembers having a liver of steel in her past life. But this hits different. She realizes the glass in her hand is identical to the one used for offering wine to the king, basically a holy relic. Kind of ridiculous, right? Then it clicks. The book set in Inowaden puts the finest vintage in the Holy Grail for the king. Flashback to her first time in the Four Seasons forest. The inscription on the stone tablet said, "Those who enter the king's temple, prove you are the chosen one." Suddenly, the gears in her head start turning. She figures something out. She is wandering the hallway looking for Axion, but takes a wrong turn and bumps into Pennon's crew instead. She is like, my bad. Not looking for you, bro. The guy gets triggered immediately. He grabs her wrist and gets all up in her face. So who do you want? Axion? Really? He looks at her with total disgust. Harris stands on her tiptoes, gets right in his grill, and says, "You think I am cute. Do not tell me you think a few sweet words will work on me. You think you can hide your dirty little secrets. You just want to use me as a baby-making factory." She roasts him and completely ignores his excuses, spinning around and walking away like a boss. After searching for a hot minute, she finally spots the guy she actually wants. She calls out to Axion with a smile. She needs a lift to the Four Seasons forest, like, right now. Axion sees her and smirks. He remembers how fierce she was earlier and is low-key into it. Sure, babe. I am ready whenever you are. Suddenly, Harris steps into his personal space and grabs his hand to trigger the teleportation. The scent of, and standing there shaking, the scent of, so they pull up to the spot. Harris is vibing, wanting to pour one out for the king, a little toast, you know? She thought it'd be a cute gesture, but man, did that go south fast. Definitely not the vibe she was hoping for. The king has been 6 feet under for 300 years, yet he's still trolling her with punishments. She's not having it. She chucks the wine glass to show she's super salty. She's just standing there like, why is this my life? She steps up to the mirror and just walks right through like a boss. But oops, wrong turn, she lands straight in some dude's bedroom. He's shirtless, abs of steel, looking totally confused. Can I help you? Alice is frozen, dying of embarrassment. Her face is beet red, ready to bolt. Hold up. The guy grabs her arm, not letting go. You just popped out of nowhere. You used the mirror or something. Ever since she saw that ghost of the king, things have been getting weird. She was raging so hard she almost lost her mind. Even the fake, two-faced pick-me girls didn't dare come close. But the second Ion shows up, she flips the switch back to normal. The sudden mood swing leaves Ion feeling a type of way. It feels off. They've teamed up a bunch of times, but she's still acting all stiff and formal. Major buzzkill. Plus, he's got questions. Real talk, what are your intentions? What are you chasing in the Four Seasons forest? You looking for the king's god-tier power? Harris shuts it down instantly. As if, she claims she's not that basic or naive to go chasing fairy tales. But then plot twist, she completely plays herself. She sprints straight to the king's temple, which is dripping in magic energy year-round. The king's clues were vague, but if you think about the four families' superpowers, it's a no-brainer. Especially room 72. She can feel the energy waves pulsing like a subwoofer, just as she's about to step inside that mystery room. Bam. Ion teleports right in front of her. Thought you said you weren't looking? Busted in 4K. But she doesn't panic. Her strategy? Gaslight, gatekeep, deny. But then Ion starts breaking down the logic of the god power. He asks if she wants to enter. She's speechless. Can't leave now. Can't go in without looking guilty. It's a lose-lose situation. But even if they walk through that door together, she's taking her secrets to the grave. She wants the ground to swallow her whole. The bedroom is bougie as heck, nice art on the walls. But why is there a massive king-size bed? And it's covered in rose petals? Seriously? It's screaming romance novel, and they're standing back to back, dying of cringe. Luckily, they spot something covered up in the corner. They rip the sheet off surprise. It's a mirror. Axion warns, don't touch that. But Harris, she's already poking it. How else do we learn, she says. Axion's like, you always this reckless. You got a death wish. She ignores him, but deep down, memories from her past life are flashing back. That guy used to be her kryptonite, her biggest nightmare. But now, she's numb to it. She reaches out to the glass again, totally ghosting Axion's warnings, and steps right in. She dives into the mirror, and Axion, having no choice, dives in after her. They end up in some random family's treasure vault, but barely 3 seconds later, red alert. Trouble incoming. 2 security guards hear a noise and bust in to check. The room looks empty, but our dynamic duo is actually squished together inside a closet. If the guard wasn't so lazy with his check, they would have been caught lacking. Once the coast is clear, they creep out. They roam around the castle like they own the place until they find something juicy, a record showing the scene of the king's death. Turns out the 4 families split the king's heart like a pizza. Harris tries to grab the artifact, but Axion blocks her. Stop being impulsive. She glares at him. This is my drama, stay out of it. Forgot we're teammates? Axion stands his ground. We do this together, or I shut it down right now. Harris challenges him. Oh yeah? How you gonna stop me? She lifts a finger. She gripped his hand tight. That superpowered oath from earlier was still living rent-free in her head, so she assumed this dude was just capping. But bro was persistent. Honestly, she was too lazy to beef about it anymore. She figured, fine, bet you'll regret this, and told him to let go. They touched the painting together. Boom. The second they made contact, the artwork's heart shattered like glass, sending shards flying everywhere. As the painting went poof, a red and gold gem dropped out. When Sean tried to grab it, the rock started glowing like a rave light. Suddenly, a flashback hit Harris, blurry images of someone with black and pink hair. She couldn't see the face clearly, but Harris never had symptoms like this before. Suddenly, noise erupted from upstairs. Busted! Sean panicked, grabbed Harris, and hit the teleport button to yeet them back home. The flashback had him low-key spiraling. He wasn't hallucinating, but he had this gut feeling something was wrong. Last time, she dipped without even saying goodbye, just vanished. It was the first time Harris had ever seen him look so shook. She wondered what that vision was about. Usually, she didn't care, but she was curious. Still, the plan hadn't changed. Find the divinity, then punch her own ticket. Next day, she's back at the mirror. According to her intel, this was a magic door, a fast travel point to wherever you wanted. Except, nobody mentioned it led to someone's random bedroom. Knock knock. Sean's minion was outside trying to give a report. The guy paused, sniffing the air like a bloodhound. Why did the boss's room smell like roses? Specifically, the scent of the I Know Wade and clan leader. He was told never to go into the I-O-S-C, but now it made sense. Here's the T. The princess used to be forced to eat 300 pounds of rocks daily by her psycho dad. He cut her skin and stuffed rocks in, saying, be a good girl, it'll heal. Absolute nightmare fuel. Harris endured 4 lives of this. It wasn't until her 5th loop that Sean finally swooped in and saved her from that dark room. She'd never forget that moment. Her trash father went feral, trying to stop them, even called in a squad of goons, but they all got wrecked. If Ricardo hadn't shown up at the last second, her dad's head would have been rolling on the floor. She curled up in Sean's arms, terrified, while this total stranger took the hits for her, enduring blows from her brother and that pick-me sister. She thought she was going to catch a beating too, but Sean held on. You're safe now. That was the first time she felt actual warmth from a human being. That was the day she finally escaped the Inuit hellhole. When she woke up, she was surrounded by people who actually gave a damn. They were all about actions, not words, healing her, protecting her, keeping her warm. It felt like a fever dream. She kept wondering, why is this top-tier guy saving her? Why is he being such a simp for her? She couldn't wrap her head around it. They only crossed paths once back in the day, yet somehow people think he's trying to exploit her? Please. But honestly, even if he was, at least here she gets to live somewhat like a human being. Flashback to the trauma. She's stuck in a nightmare, flailing around enough to mess up the sheets, until Axion swoops in like a hero to wake her up. She immediately starts apologizing, conditioned by abuse. Why? Why are you sorry? You didn't do anything wrong. Axion knows the tea. He knows exactly what kind of hell she's been through. But seeing her flinch still hurts him. This guy, usually colder than a freezer, is out here giving her all this warmth, but she keeps pushing him away. She figures if she relies on someone again, only to get stabbed in the back, she'll completely shatter. So, she made a vow to keep her heart on lockdown. But literally, a few days later, she's sobbing like a toddler. Why? Because Violetta showed up. At this point, Violetta's eyes are gone, she can't see a thing, but her heart is dead set on finding Hillis. Cue the flashback to 1 year ago. Hillis screaming for help as that trashbag father dragged her away. Back then, Violetta didn't understand what was happening. Maybe it was her conscience eating her alive, but she begged Axion to save her sister, promising the Khalidia family would take the heat. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I was too late to save you. Violetta's nose turns red from crying. Hillis is shook. Someone actually sacrificed their eyesight and is blaming themselves for not saving her. Compared to her toxic waste of a father, this kindness breaks her. She's weeping, wondering if she's just been too stupid to see that not everyone is a monster. This is the first time she's ever opened up to anyone. She doesn't realize Violetta's guilt runs deeper. But seeing Hillis this broken and tragic makes Axion want to protect her at all costs. Originally, his mission was just to grab and go save Hillis, hand her to the Khalidia family, but realizing she can't defend herself makes him unwilling to let go. He watches the girl who's usually trembling with anxiety now sleeping peacefully. She looks like sea glass washed clean by the rain, so stunning he can't look away. It makes him want to keep her even more. But when he looks up, a glitch in the matrix happens. He sees a different version of her, like a memory from her 8th life overlapping with reality. The girl raises her hand and casually blows the roof off the house. Her scumbag dad thinks she's lost her mind, but nope, she's out for blood. Vines erupt everywhere, attacking instantly. Suddenly, the dad feels a sharp pain and literally wets his pants in fear, dropping to his knees to play. The victim card. I haven't done anything worthy of death. I'm still your father. He's really trying to gaslight her right before the end. Hillis just hates him more. You don't understand? That's fine. I just want the version of you in this life to taste the hell I went through. She raises her hand again, and in a split second, the dad's hair turns white. He ages rapidly into a decrepit 70 or 80-year-old man. The spring power he was so proud of vanishes into thin air. But she's not done yet. Ricardo, don't think you're escaping either. Hearing her dad screaming, Hillis is just over it. She admits she baited her brother on purpose, giving them just enough time to plot against her. Why? Because she wanted all the rats in one place so she could exterminate them in a single go. Talk about playing 4D chess. But now, she's bored. Using her authority as the head of the house, she strips them of their family name. I want both of you gone. Now. Once the trash takes itself out, she finally gets a moment of peace. The reason she went full psycho actually starts with that mysterious mirror. She had accidentally wandered into Axion's bedroom awkward, right? But instead of a rom-com moment, she discovered the Burz's family has an artifact similar to her mirror. A golden gun, the family heirloom. Up until yesterday, it was just a normal antique. Today, it's vibrating with magical energy. She barely touches it, and click, the whole gun shatters. The shards clump together into a gold stone, just like the painting she saw earlier. Suddenly, a gold light flashes. Black hair, pink tips, a face streaming with tears. Who is this woman? She's holding the gun, and at her feet is the king, frozen stiff. Even though the woman looks heartbroken, she still pulls the trigger and executes the king. The bloody visual freaks Hillis out, and she chucks the stone across the room. Is this what Axion saw last time? Before she can process the horror, she picks the stone back up, and boom, Axion gets his memories back. All the things he forgot, and the person he was searching for, it's all her. No, don't remember. Hillis is terrified, but it's too late. She sprints home like her life depends on it. She doesn't know exactly what he remembers, but it's definitely about her. She's confused because this never happened in her previous lives. Why is the timeline changing now? She's spiraling, wondering if this is a side effect from her 7th life. She can't figure it out, but decides it doesn't matter. She plans to rage quit this life early anyway. Suddenly, the stone in her drawer starts talking. Eat me. Eat me. Hurry up and eat me. It clicks. The king told her to find divinity. If this gem is the king's 1,000-year-old breath, eating it means she absorbs it, right? She thinks she's a genius. She grabs the stone, opens wide, and swallows it whole, hoping to gain the power of death. But before the upgrade completes, her dad starts drama again, bumping into the muzzle of a gun, which leads back to the scene with the vines. The room is filled with thorns, bathed in moonlight. She closes her eyes, finally feeling free. Then, a voice calls out, Hillis. It's Axion. So, you were here. Hearing his concern, she instantly regrets everything. She regrets getting involved with this man again. She remembers her 7th life, when she ended it all while Axion was right there. Maybe that trauma is what glitched the timeline. She claims she doesn't care, but knowing he remembers the past makes her furious and humiliated. She doesn't want anyone, especially him, to know the depth of her pain and hatred. She's a mess. Should she just off herself right now? She treats men like garbage, but this guy treats her like a treasure. Use me, he says. Use me until I have no value left, then throw me away. Hillis is stumped. She wanted to use death as an escape, but what if he remembers her again in the next life? She's trapped. She can't just hit the reset button this time, and this guy is persistent. He not only moves into her house, but constantly hovers around, ruining her appetite. Axion claimed he'd do anything for her, but she's just like, I only need you for the 4 seasons forest, so unless we're there, stay out of my face. Basically, be a quiet potted plant for people to look at. That's a serious burn. Even the maid is cringe-flinching at the insult. You'd think the head of the Burzes clan would snap, but Axiom just tilts his head and crosses his arms. So, will you come to water me on time? If you keep a plant, you have to be responsible for it, right? That smooth comeback makes Hillis storm off an annoyance. The maid is trembling, but he just shrugs. Looks like he needs to figure out how to be the best potted plant ever, but his presence makes Hillis cautious. She waits until midnight to sneak into the mirror and investigate the divinity situation alone. But what she finds leaves her stunned. Axiom catches her, looking sheepish. Midnight? Isn't this a bit improper? He spots the mirror. Is it that mirror again? He pulls out a gem. He thinks the teleportation is linked to the stone. But Hillis knows better. She remembers the user manual. The mirror takes the king wherever he wants to go, or needs to go. So deep down, did she want to come here? Did she want to be with this man? The truth scares her to death. Dark, shadowy hands grab her. Be a little selfish. Make what you want, yours. Go ahead. You're the only one in the world worthy of him. The voices in her ear won't stop. She keeps telling herself, no, I don't want him. She can lie to herself, but she can't fool the magic. She struggles against the shadows. Axiom thinks she's crying again. He still doesn't fully remember why the girl in his memories was always crying, but he remembers his promise. I'll clear every obstacle for you. The missing memories are giving him a headache. Hillis looks at him. If she uses the mirror alone, the shadow monsters will attack again. She reaches out, deciding to take him with her. Together, they step into the mirror. The destination is pitch black, smelling like rot and thick, metallic blood. A loud thud echoes. The place is swarming with monsters created from the Calidea family's blood. Mouths dripping with gore, it's nausea-inducing. Who are you? What are you doing? This is going to be messy. And that brown-haired guy. Yo, welcome back to the channel, fam. Smash that subscribe button before we dive in. So Harris literally just deleted this guy. Instant game over. Sean is standing there looking totally shook, but our queen, she's unbothered. She's like, look, he blew my cover, so he had to go. R.I.P. Bozo. Then, the dungeon monsters catch a whiff of that fresh copper smell and start tweaking. The creatures in the cage are going absolutely feral, basically chanting, feed us. We want the takeout. And because Harris is savage like that, she grants their wish. She tosses the brown-haired dude right into the pit. Sean is watching this with his jaw on the floor, looking at her like she's crazy. She gives him this innocent look, like, what? I'm just helping clean up the environment. Harris totally expected Sean to call her a villain. But plot twist, he steps up and says, next time, let me handle the dirty work. My messy trail lasts longer than yours anyway. Even her dark side can't scare this man off. She's honestly speechless. Suddenly, her spiritual radar goes off. She senses a massive energy spike nearby. It's moving fast, like it's trying to escape, so she bolts after it. Sean scoops her up because, apparently, we're doing the Princess Carrie while chasing magical signals. Let's rewind a sec. To secure the girl's heart, Sean had to deal with his own toxic family drama. He literally grabbed his dad, who is also his brother figure. It's complicated by the hair. Talk about establishing dominance. He looks down like a total winner and gives the old man an ultimatum. You got 2 choices, Pops, die right here, or hand over the clan leadership. Meanwhile, Chris is losing his absolute mind. He heard Harris didn't just kick his family out. She turned the Inoayan estate into a glorified junkyard. The disrespect. Even though it sounds ridiculous, Chris has major FOMO. He refuses to be left behind while everyone else levels up. He's desperate for that clan leader title. So, he pulls a desperate move and tracks down Harris, offering the Pennon family leadership as a wedding gift. Talk about a dowry, right? Harris is pretty much over it, but hey, access to one of the 4 great clans, she's not saying no to that kind of power. Originally, she explored the 4 seasons forest with Sean, but after last night's drama, things got spicy. They were hiding in a corner like ninjas, and overheard a voice that sounded way too familiar. Turns out, someone from the Carrier faction is sponsoring the dad and son duo who got evicted. Harris clocks a weird energy fluctuation. Someone's definitely packing a tracking device. But she keeps it chill for now. She throws a disguise on Sean so he doesn't get doxxed, but he picks up a scent that triggers a core memory. They sneak out of the secret room, and Harris decides to go solo mode to investigate the divinity issue. She heads back to the Belge's hideout. That scent from earlier? It's stuck in Sean's head. Judging by Harris's reaction, one of those mystery people was definitely Ricardo. But who was the other guy, and why give the Inoyadan rejects a luxury villa? The whole thing screams conspiracy theory. At first, Sean thought the Emery family was pulling the strings, but after his spies did some digging, turns out Emery has zero connection to the monsters. That stolen painting incident, just the Emery chief being a kleptomaniac fanboy. He never expected the real mastermind to be his own mom. She's out here living her best life, scheming with Tezo. For their grandmaster plan, they decided to recruit the Inoyadan clan. It's risky, sure, but she thinks it's entertaining. And that brings us back to Chris. When Harris rejected him, he was salty. Like, extremely bitter. He feels like he deserves the spotlight, and watching someone else shine is driving him nuts. He's at his breaking point, but he's stuck. Tezo extended an olive branch, and now he's crashing at their place. Even though he knows he's being used, he's got to be grateful because his dad is sick. He's holding on to memories of his stepsister to keep from snapping. He convinces himself that as long as the family is together, it's not rock bottom. Honestly, I'm cringing for him. But Chris has questions. Like, why is Tezo helping them? And what is up with that weird smell in the Forbidden Zone? He's too terrified to ask, figuring curiosity basically kills the cat in this house. Suddenly, the girl smiles and reaches out her hand. Chris sees this and comes running like he just saw a free buffet. He thinks he's finally won her over. This is his big moment, first time holding her hand as a clan leader, walking into the Four Seasons forest. He plans to turn on the charm, whisper some sweet nothings, and lock it down. But nope, she suddenly yanks her hand away and vanishes into the mist like a ghost. Chris is left standing there, paralyzed. Who am I? Where am I? The dude is surrounded by purple fog, walking in circles for like 30 laps. Meanwhile, Harris is already in the Spring Clan's library, speed reading through hundreds of books. She remembers a faint light guiding her through the fog earlier. Was it a gem? Nope, totally different vibe this time. She finds this gadget that looks like a wind chime. Never seen it before, but her instincts kick in. She pokes it, and the thing goes crazy, jingling like a slot machine jackpot. Boom! The whole room glows gold. But that's it. No secret passage, no boss fight. She checks her watch, it's almost sunset. She remembers Sean wanted to have dinner together. All morning, she told herself, focus on the grind, Harris. But time flies when you're looting ancient libraries. She realizes she's not even in the mood to read anymore. She slams the book shut and dips, not even looking back. She pops out of the mist, and Chris is there waiting. He tries to ask where she went, but she hits him with the ultimate ignore. He is fuming, guys, but he can't do anything. He just has to laugh it off awkwardly and follow her. He tries to act tough, asking if she actually knows the way or if she's lost. But one sharp look from Harris shuts him up fast. It makes him itch with annoyance. They finally exit the forest. Even after being treated like a sidekick, Chris keeps simping. But Harris just drops a see you same time tomorrow and vanishes before he can even beg her to stay. He's never been treated this coldly before. Ironically, the rejection makes him more interested. He wants to see how long she can resist his charm. Little does he know, Sean already secured the bag ages ago. Sean didn't just move into Harris's place. He's walking around smelling like her signature rose perfume. Even his mom is suspicious. She's like, are you seeing someone? Sean thought the elders snitched, but nope, it's just the scent of roses clinging to him. His mom is hyping it up, saying she can't wait to meet the daughter-in-law. Sean immediately gets defensive. Don't even think about it, Mom. He's like, if anyone, and I mean anyone, including you hurts Harris, it's on sight. His mom is actually impressed by how scary her son has become. But the real reason Sean visited her today, he tracked that tobacco scent from the secret tunnel back to his mom's room. He used the excuse of waiting for his dad to snoop around. Then he felt a pulse of spiritual energy coming from a golden key. His gut feeling says danger. He reaches out to grab the key, and suddenly, so, you like that toy? His mom is leaning against the door frame, catching him red-handed. Meanwhile, the old dad is having a nightmare. He dreams about his daughter again. It's her fourth life, and she's terrified. Holding a handful of blood, she's trapped in a giant ruby, begging him to spare her life. The dream feels way too real, like a memory he suppressed. He's unsure if it's a hallucination or actual history. In the dream, he strangles her with his own hands. He wakes up hyperventilating, staring at his shaking palms. He can't believe he would ever do something that messed up. At the same time, Harris teleports home. Unlike her usual lonely arrival, someone is waiting for her. "Welcome home, babe." She glances at him and immediately spots the golden key in his pocket. Sean pulls it out and keeps it 100 with her. "Yeah, I swiped this today while I was out." He knows his mom wants him to investigate it, but he's not giving it back. Harris is confused. "You found it. Why do you need my permission?" Sean looks her dead in the eye and says, "Because what's mine is yours. I'm giving it to you." Even though she acts cool, that line hit different. Sean always keeps his promises. Harris came back specifically to eat dinner with him, and Sean is beaming. She pretends she doesn't know what he's talking about, denying her feelings. But deep down, she's struggling. She wants to be soft for him, but she puts up that icy wall. Admitting she cares feels harder than fighting monsters. But Sean sees right through her cap. "You forgot the promise? No worries. Let's just go to Annie's place." Her face turns bright red. Still, her main mission hasn't changed. If the door of death appears, she's walking through it, no hesitation. Even if Sean gives her a reason to live, why ask for permission? "What's mine is yours, baby girl." That was Sean's vibe. Even though she acted like she didn't care, she knew deep down, whether in the past life or right now, this man stood on business. She even came back specifically for dinner, which had Sean buzzing with joy. "I don't know what you're talking about," she lied. Her mouth kept capping, but her heart, it was melting. She clearly cared. She wanted to be soft with him, but she kept up the Ice Queen act because it was safer. But let's be real, no matter how hard she masked, he saw right through her poker face. "Forgot the promise from this morning? No biggie. Let's head to Annie's place." Her face flushed red instantly. But don't get it twisted, her main goal hadn't changed. If that death door appeared, she was walking through it, zero hesitation. Sure, Sean's kindness was giving her a reason to live, but the mission was more important. So, our girl Harris is in full detective mode, trying to crack the code on this divinity stuff back at the king's temple. But wait, she spots the exact same gizmo she saw in the Four Seasons forest. Does this place have a secret VIP room too? She reaches out to poke it. Click, click, boom. A golden light flashes, and suddenly we aren't in Kansas anymore. She thinks she's still in the temple, but nope, teleportation jutsu complete. Then, out of nowhere, someone yells, "Lady Harris." Talk about a surprise party, it's the vassal clan leaders looking at her like lost puppies finding their mom. Since the Inoaden estate got wrecked, these guys have been stressing out big time. But hey, they're the top dogs of the vassal families, right? They can't be caught looking weak. Realizing they almost lost their cool, Norton quickly apologizes and drops to his knees. "Greetings, Spring King." If this was the old days, Harris would have been sweating bullets at this level of respect. But now, she's totally unbothered. Even when these traitors are bowing down, she doesn't feel a thing. No awkwardness, no surprise. It's just another Tuesday for her. She decides to test the waters and calls out clan leader Montana, bringing up the monster attack at the Emer mansion and praising Cordelia's bravery. She wanted to see if he'd crack, but the result? Total letdown. This guy clearly hates the four main families but is putting on a masterclass in fake customer service. Harris isn't buying it. She'd respect him more if he just owned his hate. Suddenly, a massive energy spike hits the radar. It's coming from Chris and Axion, and oh boy, they are throwing hands. Harris leans in like she's about to kiss Axion but pushes him away. "Are you trying to seduce me?" "Wait, hold up." Harris is trying to deny reality here. While she was chatting with the vassals, she felt that insane power surge and knew it was Axion. She instantly used her vanishing spell to zip over to his location. She definitely didn't expect to walk in on a bro fight. Chris spots her and his face lights up like a kid in a candy store, but then he immediately starts snitching like a 3-year-old. Turns out, Harris and Chris had a date planned at the Four Seasons forest today. Chris, being petty because of their last beef, decided to show up 2 hours late on purpose just to see her look stupid. But joke's on him, he got ghosted. He was so mad he was seeing red, swearing he'd teach Harris a lesson. But instead of the girl he wanted to roast, Axion pulls up. Even Axion's "I don't care about you" attitude reminds Chris of that woman, and it drives him up the wall. So, Chris decides to be toxic. He points at the massive iron gates, basically bragging that Harris invited him there. That's when Axion realizes Chris is the new Winter Clan head. But don't expect a congratulations card, especially not after hearing Chris flex about holding hands with Harris with that smug look on his face. Axion's brain basically short-circuits. He can't wrap his head around why Harris would still pick Chris, even knowing he's trash. Jealousy completely takes the wheel. Axion starts charging up dark magic in his palm. His logic? If I delete this guy from the server, I'll be the only option left for Harris. He raises his hand. The pressure is so intense, everything around them starts crumbling. Chris thinks Axion has lost his mind. "I'm perfectly sane," Axion replies. "If I wasn't, you wouldn't still be standing there talking." Just as he prepares the finishing move, Harris drops in. Seeing her standing between them makes Axion so jealous he almost teleports away just to escape the awkwardness. But plot twist. Harris grabs his hand instead of Chris's and starts walking away. Didn't you have a date with Mr. Winters? Why did you follow me? Want me to go back to him? Axion is spiraling, asking questions he already knows the answers to. Remembering Chris's taunts about holding hands, Axion starts feeling insecure. He's having flashbacks to his fifth life at the Bridget mansion. Anyone with eyes could see how down bad he was for her back then. His jealousy is so obvious that Harris is honestly speechless. Doesn't he get that he's the main character in her life? She calls him a big dummy and reaches out. Axion feels like he's losing it, but he can't pretend nothing happened. He's been waiting for this green light for way too long. He leans down, finally taking the lead. Feeling the warmth of her hands in that kiss, Harris can't lie to herself anymore. In the past, she couldn't even look Axion in the eye, terrified her secret crush would be exposed. But deep down, she always wanted to be close to him. She wanted to be by his side forever. Now, she's finally brave enough to face her own feelings. If only they could freeze this moment. She teases him a bit, but then tries to vanish like a bandit. Axion isn't having it. He grips her tight. Don't do that. Stop running. I'm never letting you go, so just give up. Harris realizes she's totally lost this battle. She wraps her arms around his neck and kisses his hair. Memories and feelings start flooding back from her past life. It was after she got rescued and brought to the Bridget estate. A maid was pushing her wheelchair through the garden when she saw Violetta and Axion chatting. Seeing them laughing together hit her right in the feels. Even though she was stuck in her room, she'd heard the rumors childhood sweethearts never looked at anyone else. Seeing Axion holding flowers, they looked like the perfect couple. The light was too bright for her world. She told the maid to wheel her away, but then, surprise. Axion comes running after her, still holding the flowers. She thought she was about to get scolded. She was stuttering, couldn't get a word out, but then he smiles and hands her the bouquet. Wait, those weren't for Violetta? Inside, she was doing a happy dance, but then the doubt crept in. Did Violetta ask him to give these to me? Still, she was grateful for everything. The maid took one look and whispered the tea. Those are honeysuckles. In flower language, happiness will surely come. Harris mumbled the phrase, staring at the flowers like they were gold. A rare smile actually appeared on her face. She asked Axion to thank Violetta, but nope, he bought them himself. He just didn't want her to be bored. Harris was so flustered she didn't know what to say. As long as you like them. Suddenly, it clicked. She looked down, face burning red. She had to pretend she didn't get it, but she can't fake it anymore. This handsome guy in front of her is the only one she wants. Meanwhile, cut to Violetta, who is absolutely fuming. She explicitly warned Axion, stay away from the Spring Clan head. And what does she get? A letter from Axion saying, Harris and I are a thing. Don't call me unless it's an emergency. The audacity. What is he playing at? Even though he ignored her advice, she can't bring herself to hate him. She's undeniably attracted to him and doesn't understand why. At Harris's succession party, Violetta didn't even say hello because she was too busy stalking Tezo. She saw him sneak into the Montana mansion. Montana is a vassal of Caria, so visiting is normal, but sneaking around at midnight, totally suspicious. Tezo has always tried to be Violetta's number one, desperate to marry her just like the elders want. But she knows the truth. Tezo doesn't want her. He wants the Caria family power. She just can't figure out his specific evil plan. Luckily, Harris arrives. She finds the Caria clan head sick in bed, and while the butler is leading her to Violetta and Mag, guess who pops up? Tezo. He claims he wants to hang out with her to kill time. Harris checks him for magic, nothing. But she senses a faint power signal from somewhere else in the mansion. She confirms the item she's hunting is here and agrees to join him. After a few sips of tea, Tezo starts yapping about the old days with Violetta and her big sister. He talks about how the sister ran away to escape an arranged marriage, and how she gave birth to Mag. Violetta would do anything for Mag, right? Tezo acts all sad, but Harris just finds it hilarious. She's sitting here, drinking tea with a total two-faced snake. Seeing his fake gentle smile, she knows she could end him with a snap of her fingers. But why bother? In her 7th life, she tried everything to change fate, but some tragedies are set in stone. Little Mag still died at 16. So this time, Harris flipped the script. She kicked her deadbeat dad off the throne, beat up her useless brother, and threw the whole trash family out onto the streets. She has no time for garbage people. Tezo, realizing the new boss isn't playing games, suddenly loses his appetite for tea. He mumbles some polite excuse and bolts out of the greenhouse. His mind is racing with Harris's words, I kicked them all out. His original plan to manipulate her father and brother just went up in smoke. He rushes to the small villa to check on the former Innowaden head. Ricardo is there, looking super awkward. His dad's condition is getting worse, sleeping all the time and talking nonsense when he wakes up. Ricardo is stressing out big time. She just didn't know how to handle it. Meanwhile, Tio smirked like a creep. Perfect. The drugs are still kicking. Ricardo, being the clueless brother he is, stood there looking totally lost. He thought he heard wrong. But Teo just laid it out. I saw Harris today. She's completely over you guys. She's done. Teo thought Ricardo might be useful, but looking at him now, he realized he was overthinking it. He called out to the spacing out Ricardo. Where's Miss Gabriella? Ricardo went autopilot. She went out. Wait, Gabriella went out? Yesterday and the day before, he personally took his sister out, but he never saw her come back. Finally, the light bulb turned on. He grabbed his benefactor by the collar. You scumbag, what did you do? But then, his vision started blurring. His body went limp, and he collapsed. Lights out. The irony was wild. He ignored his own blood sister for years, but went feral for the one not related by blood. Even a psycho like Tio couldn't understand that logic. Tio had been dumped by his fiancée, who ran off and had a kid with another guy. Yet, Tio still thought that kid was adorable. So cute he tried to pat its head once, but Violetta slapped his hand away and hugged the kid tight, looking at him like he was Godzilla. Tio was speechless. Even though Violetta said she just didn't want him messing up the kid's hair, he knew the truth. He could never be part of her life, but if he had just planned things a little faster, the ending would have arrived sooner. Wait, why this time? He shrugged it off, blaming the fatigue. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Sean received a very special delivery. A pus-filled monster reeking of divine power. Even crazier, it was the same type from the Emmer Mansion. Sean used his magic to box up the 1,000-pound beast and move it. His minions were hyping him up. Boss is too op, but that didn't change the fact that the garden was now a disaster zone. Out of the whole wide world, why did they drop a monster in the flower bed? The minion, Stemmen, scratched his head. He meant to drop it in an empty lot, but his GPS was glitching and his aim was trash. He thought it was chill, but then the boss got mad. He didn't get it at first, but then it clicked. Sean ordered a full renovation, plant flowers everywhere, on the empty lawn. Make it fit my future wife's aesthetic. Sean patted him on the shoulder. I'm entrusting this glorious, painful mission to you. If it doesn't look good, you better prepare yourself. Sean walked off, giving him zero chance to say no. So basically, the minion was stuck doing the heavy lifting for their romance. Harris wanted to claim Sean completely, but was too scared to face her feelings. The voice in her head kept nagging, go on, own him. She sighed, downed a glass of wine, and poof teleported into his bedroom. Sean froze. Midnight visit? What's up? Nothing. She leaned on the sofa, inching closer, and reached out to caress his cheek. The voice in her head finally shut up. Sean was confused by her random words, but the smell of booze and her blushing face gave it away. She was hammered again. He kissed her fingers. Since you can't sleep, come here. He pulled her into a hug while she was distracted. Two grown adults squeezed onto a tiny sofa. The air was thick with the sour, sweet taste of love. They stayed like that until midnight. Sean was losing his mind. Having her in his arms was a mix of thrill and torture. He wanted to push her away to keep her safe, but Harris wasn't sleeping. Honestly, I wanted to hold you like this for a long time. Her eyes were full of sadness. Sean was shook. He asked if she wanted anything else. Anything at all. She didn't say a word. Instead, she flipped over and pinned him down. Shoosh. She blew gently into his ear. He thought that was it, but then she kissed his chest. Sean felt like he touched a live wire. If this kept going, he couldn't promise he'd behave. He grabbed her hand. We gotta stop. But Harris dropped a line that made him blush and left him speechless. Apparently, when he did this to her before, she felt super happy, so now she was just copying his moves. Are you mad? Or is it uncomfortable? He wanted to say no, but he couldn't keep going tonight. I'm not mad. Really. But before, you got mad at me. Sean was lost. When did he ever get mad at his wifey? It wasn't until she mentioned the sixth life that he realized she was remembering things he had no clue about. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. So, turns out in their sixth life, timeline glitch, Sean was a total jerk, roasting Harris like a noob and saying she had the skills of a toddler. He literally told her to kick rocks because she was an eyesore. Hearing that she cried alone back then hit him right in the feels. He's panicking, admitting he messed up, and practically begging for a beatdown to make it right. But Harris, she pulls a reverse Uno card. Instead of slapping him, she gets real close. Sean freezes up, but let's just say her punishment was sweeter than a donut from Voodoo Donut. Even he couldn't resist. R.I.P. to that feather pillow, though. Next morning, Harris wakes up with a serious case of the regrets, looking flustered. She tries to pull his silent exit, clearly not over the drama from the night before. Sean's like, easy on the drinks, don't want you getting tipsy and scouting for new dudes. She's ready to explode, but snaps back, relax, when I'm wasted, you're the only guy I'm hunting for. Mic drop. This dude cuts his own hand 300 pounds of pressure style and starts talking to thin air. His rival thinks Sean's lost his marbles, but surprise, he actually summons the king. Main character energy, right? After that cameo, Sean is desperate to get back to the Four Seasons woods to find out what the king spilled to Harris. But Harris isn't vibing with a return trip, so Sean decides to drag Chris along instead. He thinks Chris is the perfect travel buddy. Sean pulls up to Chris's crib. Chris is like, you here to apologize? Sean doesn't waste breath, just throws a magic blast that catches Chris completely off guard. Chris tries to power up his defense, and his minions come running like headless chickens. Sean yells, back off, and blasts them away. Then, while Chris is distracted, a dark hand grabs him out of nowhere. Chris gets choked out and lifted like a rag doll. Swish. Next thing he knows, they teleport straight to the forest gate. Sean drops him hard. Chris hits the dirt, totally confused about how he got there. Realizing where he is, Chris is fuming. You dragging me around like luggage? Sean ignores the tantrum, standing in front of the stone tablet. He's focused on the mission, not the drama. Sean remembers coming here with Harris after the party, pouring blood into the Holy Grail, but it just spilled. He figured the king's ghost was either gone or napping, but his gut says otherwise. He knows something is listening. He talks to the air like, yo, I got questions, I need answers. Chris is losing it, thinking, this guy is certifiable, and wondering how he ever landed Harris. Then Chris smells it, that distinct rose scent. It's Harris's perfume, and it's all over Sean. Jealousy hits him like a freight train. He realizes exactly what went down between them. Filled with green-eyed rage, Chris screams Sean and fires a barrage of ice shards, trying to turn him into a popsicle. But Sean, he just waves his hand like he's swatting a fly in Central Park. The ice melts before it even touches him. Sean's like, yeah, I don't like you either, buddy. Boom. Magic explosion. Before Chris can blink, Sean teleports right behind him. Sean grabs his arm and WWE style slams his head into the stone tablet. Smack. Blood drips down the rock, and boom, it starts glowing gold. The king's ghost is back in the building. The king is like, been alive forever. Never seen two dudes fighting over a girl like this. He looks at Sean. You trying to sacrifice this Pennon descendant to me or what? The king gives him the cold stare. Sean doesn't deny it. Does he really want to trade Chris for info? The king finally shows up for real, and Sean is about to get the tea on his wife's secret chat. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Last time, Axion totally missed the memo on Harris's backstory, but now he's digging for the truth. He was dying to know the tea, but man, he wasn't ready for this heartbreak. Get this, Harris doesn't want power or money. She literally just wants to check out permanently. Homegirl has been taken out 6 times and ended it herself once, yet she's still stuck here. She's trapped in a loop, basically, a forever prison, and she can't catch a break. The king is roasting Axion, calling him a dummy because Violetta already spilled the beans, but he refused to listen. Even if he's in denial, the ending is already scripted. Fam. Axion is stumbling around, totally shook, as memories flood his brain like a tsunami of pure pain. Harris actually begged him to end her life. He was like, no way, but she's exhausted and just wants to quit the game. She thanked him for the assist but told him to back off next time. That empty smile of hers? Absolutely devastating. Axion is clutching his head, speechless, wishing these toxic memories stay buried in the timeline where they belong. When she finally tried to delete her save file, a piece of her soul remained. Axion swore he'd do anything for his girl, but keeping that promise means helping her punch her final ticket. Before he can even process that, the king drops another bomb. Between true death and Axion, Harris is going to choose the grave every single time. And Axion, he'll be stuck in the void forever. Meanwhile, Grizz, that manipulated tool, finally wakes up from his nap. Suddenly, the vibe in the room gets heavy, and he's paralyzed, sensing major bad news incoming. He hears voices calling for a sacrifice and realizes he is the main course. Freaking out, he screams and busts out of his chains, but then cracks something snaps. He spins around and sees Axion standing there like a zombie, with a massive 2-meter gash across his chest, dripping blood everywhere. Grizz freezes, instinctively asking if the dude is okay. Grizz is banged up too, but Axion just scoffs. Who told you to stand there like a statue? The silence gets super awkward, and Grizz starts rambling because he's nervous. He tries to explain it wasn't his fault, but Axion gives him the cold shoulder and orders him to follow. Grizz tries to act tough like, you're not the boss of me, but panics the second Axion walks away. Seeing those bloody footprints has him terrified. He wants Axion to patch up, but the guy ignores him. Then the footprints vanish like magic, so Grizz has to hustle to keep up. Once they're out of the woods, his minion runs up, but Grizz is like, I'm good, chill. Watching Ion leave, he asks Renal, yo, is that guy psycho? Speaking of psychos, let's talk about the mother-in-law meeting. Harris basically called Ion's mom gross, but instead of raging, the lady got hyped like she found a treasure. Anyway, after leaving the mansion, Harris hit up a bakery to get snacks for Mark. Thinking about the night before gave her the ick, but it was too late for regrets. Then, guess who walks in? Ion's mom, Zenon. It's their first meetup, but things get weird fast. Zenon knows her name immediately and suggests some soft mint candy. Harris ignores the small talk, tells the baker to ship the pastries, and addresses Zenon by her full government name. She dropped the formalities completely, telling Zenon to do whatever. Zenon loved the attitude and offered to pay, but Harris gave her the cold shoulder and just took the mints to avoid drama. So, two scary ladies are walking down the street, and everyone else is sweating bullets. People say Harris is built different, totally unlike the other girls in this town. It makes sense why Ion is so obsessed with her. Harris used to stay in Zenon and wanted that free-spirited lifestyle, but meeting her in person changed the vibe completely. She switches up, tasting the candy and saying, this tastes like trash. Suddenly, the candy turns into rose petals in her hand. The energy between them is getting super tense. Even Ion's henchman, Statman, is cringing. He steps in, nervous about getting yelled at, and tells the former boss to back off the Spring Clan leader. Zenon looks at him like he's a bug, gathering dark energy in her hand while chatting casually. If Ion hadn't warned Statman beforehand, she would have blasted him right there. She smiles, says later, fam to her future daughter-in-law, and teleports away. Harris finally breathes easy. And here's the tea on why she hates Zenon. It goes back to when Mark was captured. The Bola family wanted to overthrow the top 4 clans but didn't have the skills or the magical bloodline to back it up. Major wannabe energy. So they targeted Mark, torturing the poor kid for 4 years with twisted experiments. The result? A bunch of useless monsters and zero success. And the sponsor for this horror show? Zenon belges. She just wanted entertainment and chaos, but Ion put a stop to it by having her watch 24/7. Zenon eventually got bored and released Mark, which made the Bola leader die of rage. She walked out like a boss, only to run into her good son Ion outside the temple. Ion doesn't know her endgame, but he made it clear he never wants to see her again. She vanished in a cloud of black mist and roses, leaving behind some cryptic advice. We all know she ignored him. Curiosity got the best of her, so she went to check out Harry's. Harry's gave her a weird look and said, I knew you'd show up. Back at home, Harris is confused. They just met, but the vibes were familiar. Does this have to do with Ion getting his memories back? Suddenly, she hears a commotion outside. It sounds like Ion is home. She gets up to check and hears people screaming for a medic. She's acting cool until she spots him on the stairs. Ion is looking rough, with that massive gash, bleeding what looks like 300 pounds of blood. Harris loses her cool for the first time, demanding to know who hurt him. But honestly, a physical wound is nothing compared to her trauma. Remembering the king's prophecy about her wanting to die, Ion is too heartbroken to speak and just pulls her into a hug. He holds on for dear life, terrified to ask if it's true because he knows she won't lie. He's silently begging her not to leave him, but he feels guilty for being selfish. He wants to ask her to stay, but feels like a jerk for asking. Harris, being sharp, reads his mood instantly without him saying a word. She had considered the happy ending marriage, the big house, the works. But if a one-time ticket to the afterlife appeared right now, she'd take it in a heartbeat, even if it wrecked Ion. Deciding not to be greedy, she tries to push him away and break up, but Ion just squeezes tighter. He refuses to let go. Even if she wants to die, he's sticking by her side until the bitter end. That's the only future he's signing up for. Harris drops the interrogation about his injury because she's already figured it out. That nasty cut was definitely caused by a special ability. It wasn't his mom, so it had to be Grizz. But how did a weakling like Grizz land a hit? Ion must have been distracted by whatever the Ghost King told him. Ion was definitely off his game. His clinginess has Harris tossing and turning all night. Suddenly, whoosh, some black mist creeps under her door. She hesitates but finally opens the door to find Ion standing there looking like a sad puppy. He had a panic attack thinking she disappeared and needed to check on her. He touches her cheek, relieved she's real. Even though the situation is tragic, Harris thinks his vulnerability is low-key cute because he only shows this side to her. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more drama. That mirror in the room is basically a fast travel glitch, but Harris always spawns right in front of him. It proves their vibes are totally synced, fam. If they call it quits now, it's gonna be a major L for both of them. So Axion is like, just chill with me until you're sick of my face. He thinks maybe the heartbreak won't hit as hard later. Harris thinks he's ruthless for saying that, but he keeps dropping these cheesy lines. The struggle is real, she's hurting but low-key loving it. She finally stops overthinking and plants a kiss on him, unleashing 8 lifetimes of bottled-up feels. She's brave for that. Next afternoon, Harris finally wakes up and sees Axion's face. Instead of ghosting him, she's actually worried about his battle scars from last night. But hold up, why does he look even more high-definition handsome? She's confused because her face is puffy from crying all night. She looks like a total mess. She's speechless, feeling super self-conscious and burying her face in the pillow. Axion asks, "Was I too much? You done with me?" Hearing Axion panic, she doesn't bother explaining. She just tells him to know his limits next time because her whole body is wrecking. But then he hits her with the "I can't control myself when I look at you." Then he goes in for another kiss. The vibe is getting super sweet, sugary sweet. He wants to do something he's been dreaming of for ages. You think it's something wild, but nah. He just wants to brush his wifey's hair. He's brushing it so smooth it looks like a shampoo commercial, then hugs her from behind. He wants to hold her like that forever. But of course, the moment gets ruined. Knock knock. The maid interrupts with Harris's favorite cake. As soon as Axion hears favorite, his ears perk up like a golden retriever. He tells the maid to get in there, as soon as possible. Seeing that dark chocolate cake, Axion is kicking himself. If he knew she had a sweet tooth, he would have bought every bakery in the city by now. Talk about a missed opportunity. But hey, better late than never. He feeds her a slice, but Harris is clearly awkward about it. He's persistent though, so she shuts her eyes and opens up. It's her first time being spoiled like this. She gets chocolate all over her face, super cute. Axion cracks up laughing because he's never seen this side of her. That kills the mood for her though, she's too embarrassed to eat. Then he drops a line so smooth Harris freezes, her face turning into a tomato. It's getting steamy again. They spend another night tangled up together. Finally, Axion drags himself out of bed and gently touches her face. He waits until the door clicks shut before Harris opens her eyes. She gets up time to go settle some scores. After a 2-day cuddle marathon, Axion finally goes back to work. But the moment he walks in, his subordinate is grilling him. "Where have you been for 2 days, boss? I called you 999 times. The dude looks so hurt, but then he smells the rose perfume on Axion. "Oh my god, I get it now. Boss, if you move to Innowaden, you gotta take me with you." He immediately starts gossiping about the ex-leader and his future fiancé. Apparently, the fiancé hates the ex-leader's guts. The subordinate is laughing like he's watching a reality show. "Boss, what are you gonna do?" Seeing Axion lose his patience, he finally hands over the loot ruby shards. This is the stuff that caused the monster mutations, but it's also the only thing that can delete them. Since finding that first monster, Axion had his science team running tests. Normal weapons and powers, useless. You gotta shatter the ruby inside them to get the kill. Axion looks at the shards and realizes how serious this glitch is. He rushes to Kalia to find Violetta, but she instantly asks about Harris. Even the pet monster runs over expecting Harris, but smells Axion and walks away, totally disappointed. Violetta goes full Karen mode. "You have no shame." Walking around smelling like her, Axion just stands there, unbothered. He goes to meet the clan mother. He shows the ruby to the matriarch. She takes one look and confirms it's legit loot from Kalia. She wants to catch another monster to verify, but the Beshe family already wiped the server, no monsters left. Catching a live one now is mission impossible, but Axion remembers a secret spot, the basement he visited with Harris. He might be able to catch one there via the mirror. He keeps the details vague for now. But the matriarch has that old person intuition. She senses bad vibes coming for Kalia. She drops hints about her nephew Theodore. Maybe she's just paranoid because she's dying, or maybe she sees the truth. She knows she's fading fast, so she asks Axion to protect Violetta and her grandson Am. Axion agrees instantly, and she feels relieved. But wait, she's got one more side quest for him. She pulls out a glowing loot box. Axion is shook. She says it's an ancestor's relic Harris left behind. A dream told her it's time to return it to its rightful owner. Meanwhile, Harris is on a rampage. Since her man got hurt, she stormed the culprit's base. She destroyed their family heirloom, and now she's trying to hack into their treasure vault. The firewall is tough, but Harris knows she can crack it. Suddenly, Chris, totally clueless, grabs her hand, worried she's hurt. This gives her a lightbulb moment. The key to the vault is standing right in front of her. She flings his hand away and commands him to open it. Chris actually does it, thinking she wouldn't dare smash the treasures inside. He's acting smug, like you won't do it. Wrong. Next second, she goes beast mode. Crash. Harris smashes the display case. The ruby inside shatters into a million pieces. "What is this thing?" asks Chris, who is clearly not in the group chat. Harris gives him the cold shoulder. "Why should I tell you?" Her eyes are icy cold, You're the one who hurt Axion, right? He doesn't deny it, so she takes that as a yes. She raises her hand and boom, thorny vines burst from the ground. Slash. The vines cut Chris up, blooming flowers from his blood. Touch him again and you're deleted. Watch your back. Horace drops the warning and teleports out. Chris collapses, traumatized. He's always the one getting beat up. Why is he the punching bag? He thought Axiom was acting weird, but things get weirder. Theodore from Kalia shows up with a shady offer. We'll give you Kalia's tears if you give us the P venom. He wants to team up for some big scheme. Chris thinks it's an official offer, but Theodore grins like a snake. This is my idea, but soon I'll be the boss of Kalia. Clearly, there's a civil war brewing in Kalia. Chris, with his empty brain, still doesn't get it. Harvey's just wrecked his house, bro. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Axiom walks out with a pocket watch thingy, looking super depressed. This item might literally delete Harris from the server, but he has to give it to her. He goes home and kisses his wife like it's the end of the world. He pulls out the box. Harris is surprised, but seeing Axion looking so broken, she stays quiet. He keeps saying I missed you and begging for one last kiss, trying to reassure himself. The clock hands spin in her mind, taking her back to the Four Seasons forest. The ancestor was the king's favorite, but she gave up immortality just to have a baby with another guy. She begged the king to let the kid be born. The king understood her desire to be a mom, but set a strict timer on her life. He promised that when she and the kid reached the end, there would be no pain. That's the memory fragment Harris sees. She realizes the dark truth. She stands there, frozen. Even when Axion hugs her, she feels cold as ice. And finally, over on the other side, Gabriella, who has been missing for like 50 chapters, finally shows up. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next episode. Yo, check this out. Shorty is curled up in the corner, shaking like a leaf, looking like a straight-up mess. We're talking snot, tears, the whole waterworks show. Turns out, when her pops and brother got kicked to the curb, she tried to bail with them. But get this, ever since she got thrown in the slammer, her memory is total mush. Nobody visits this creep show of a cell. But she still gets half a loaf of bread and some water daily. Being stuck in this dungeon is giving her major deja vu of a caged animal. She looks like a total monster right now, screaming her own name like a maniac. She's terrified she's gonna lose her mind completely. Who knows how much time passed, but finally, someone cracks the door open. She thinks it's her boy Ricardo and looks up all excited, but plot twist, it's Axion. She screams like she just saw a demon and scrambles backward, totally losing it. Axion just strolls in slowly, looking dangerous. Axion hits her with one question. Where are your dad and brother? Homegirl instantly faints from the pressure. She vaguely hears them talking about moving her, and she's like, nope, no way. In her head, Axion is the guy who choked her out before. He drops a savage line. If she lies, he'll make sure her death note says she was taken out by the person she framed. And he's gonna make it painful. That look in his eyes, pure killer vibes. She ain't ever forgetting that. Time flies, y'all. We're 2 days away from the big hunting festival. The tea on the street is that Chris and Gabriella called off their engagement. Everyone is buzzing to see if Chris is going to be scouting for a new bae at the festival. The fangirls are going wild with the gossip. But the real showstopper, the event hasn't even started, and Harris and Axion show up looking like a power couple. They're so cozy it's making everyone blush and fangirl. But hold up, next second, Axion looks salty. Harris tells him she wants to find a gorgeous beach because the old her wanted to see one. Even though that was a past life wish, Harris is determined to help her old self. Tick that off the bucket list. Turns out, Axion wasn't mad about the beach. He was salty she didn't invite him. He's like, let's go together next time? Yeah. Smooth operator. He finally chills out, and he can't resist, planting a kiss on her right there. The crowd goes silent like, are we getting this show for free? Then, Harris cuts her palm, blood dripping, and the tension weighs like 300 pounds. The king shows up, but Harris isn't, freaking out like last time. She coldly raises a hand whoosh and blasts a ton of thorny vines at him. But guess what? It doesn't even scratch him. She looks at the king's face like, really, bro? And says, my bad. Just wanted to check if you were the real deal or just a vibe. She asks if he's taking his anger out on her because of Violetta. The king's words kinda hit home for Harris, but she's not totally buying it. Honest truth, she never liked the guy anyway. Too bad the king isn't actually real here. If she wants this ghostly image to vanish, she's got to keep grinding and collecting those divinity fragments scattered all over the P map. She's thinking, wait until that day comes, and your wish will be mine. A wind chime rings, and boom, Harris teleports from the Four Seasons forest to a smaller woods. According to her intel, the divinity items are split up in 19 different spots. She follows the scent of holy magic and snags a gem in the forest. Now that she's racking up these stats and collecting more divinity, she can hop in and out of the Four Seasons forest whenever she wants. It's exhausting work, hunting these things down. But if it means disappearing completely, she'd literally die trying and be cool with it. Looking at the beautiful scenery, she wishes Axion could see it too. But Axion is currently booked and busy. Even though he dragged Gabriella back last time, he didn't get any juicy info out of it. Luckily, he snagged a henchman. But this guy is capping hard, claiming he just wanted to take care of the lady because she was a bit psycho, so he tied her up. Claims he knows zero about the Inoaden family. Axion totally saw this coming. The more this dude lies, the more Axion knows he's terrified of dying. And that's perfect because Axion has a million ways to use his powers to twist this guy's arm literally. He's ready to snap the guy's fingers one by one until he spills the beans. Axion is giving off straight-up demon energy. Once he confirms Tezo is the one pulling the strings, he heads to the hunting grounds the next day. But he's keeping the investigation into the Inoaden family on the low. He doesn't want his wifey to know. He'd rather stack up more evidence than torture. A thick-skinned liar like Tezo right now. He's about to dip when Violetta calls him out. She looks super stressed, so he thinks it's something major. Turns out, she just wants a ride back to Caria. Not a big deal, and definitely not the clan leader's business. Axion shuts her down instantly. Even though she's fuming, there's nothing she can do. He's a married man now, folks. He plans to find someone else to escort her, but that would take until evening, which is too late. Violetta gets serious because this involves the tears of Caria. Seeing how tense she is, he wonders if it's about Tezo. Before Violetta can answer, the air fills with the scent of seductive roses. Talk about special effects, Haris has arrived. The closer she gets to death, the more powerful she becomes. She can literally sense her boo from miles away while sitting on the couch. To confirm her gut feeling, Haris teleports right to the dark energy source. Seeing her man with another woman? Yeah, she's low-key jealous, but she keeps it icy and silent. Her aura is intense, and that rose scent is strong. She definitely just popped some divinity gems. She just came out of curiosity but was surprised to see these two hanging out. "You got business here?" she asks. Violetta looks suspicious, but Haris is like, "Yeah, I did, but handled it." The weird vibe hidden under her cold look, even Violetta picks up on it. Violetta and Axion exchange glances, both clueless about what she's been up to. Axion mentions using his powers to take Violetta home. Haris steps up like a boss and says, "I'll take her." Seeing Axion look all worried, she tells him, "Follow us or wait here. Up to you." And zap, she vanishes with Violetta. Axion literally has zero control over her. He sighs and just obediently follows like a good puppy. Cut to Caria, Tezo and Bol bump into each other. After a fake nice greeting, as they pass by, Bol whispers, "I'd watch my back if I were you." She can't resist dropping a warning. Flashback to earlier, Tezo was teaming up with some trashy nobles at the hunting ground to publicly roast Violetta. The hostility was so loud and clear, Violetta was shook. She thought he'd team up with some heavy hitters for power, not scrape the bottom of the barrel with these losers. He's showing his true colors way too fast. What's his endgame? What's the scheme? Violetta is racking her brain. At first, she didn't care, but then Chris showed up, and that sent chills down her spine. Chris has gotten way stronger, and she knows exactly where that juice is coming from. It's the tears of Caria. The four families have powers, but only the Inoaden clan can level up by blooming. The others usually stay static. Seeing Chris and Tezo being besties gives her a massive bad feeling. Big trouble is brewing. Bol really doesn't want things to go sideways, but Tezo basically treats her like dirt. To him, she's just from a side branch of the family. She ain't got the rank to boss him around. Even though he talks big, Tezo is actually annoyed, so he pours himself a glass of wine in his office. Before he can even take a sip, Violetta bursts in, demanding answers about the gems. She calls him shameless, saying he has no right. She knows how much their mom suffered to shed those tears, and he just gives them away. He smiles without answering, and Violetta snaps. She raises her hand to slap him, but he catches her wrist midair. "Why you so mad?" Tezo plays dumb. A scumbag doing scumbag things isn't that normal. Besides, we've hated each other for ages. I just decided to stop pretending first. Violetta is fuming but can't do anything to him. "If you dare touch Haris, I will bet everything I have to end you in the most painful way possible." The scent of roses lingers on her even after she storms out. It hangs in the study for a long time. That intense smell actually makes Tezo feel threatened. Haris Inoaden, what kind of chaos is she gonna bring? Looks like he needs to rethink his strategy. The first time the girl led the boy out, she got blocked by her past lover. Turns out, the day she raided the pavilion, Chris saw a vision of their past life. The love and hate between him and that girl tangled up. If it's an illusion, why does it feel so real? Like it actually happened? His guy instincts are screaming that this is legit. Yo, welcome back to the channel. If you hate toxic exes, smash that like button right now. So, Haris definitely sensed the vibes were off. The moment she spots the target, she's ready to press him for answers. But Chris, this guy tries to slide in for a private chat, gets rejected, and immediately tries to throw hands. He's about to start swinging, but get this, a tiny hand pushes him back. It's Lil Mang, barely 3 feet tall, standing on business right in front of him. Bro, didn't she say she has nothing to say to you? No means no. And don't even think about bullying Haris. Lil Mang declares, I'm her bodyguard. The crowd goes wild, whispering, that kid's got main character energy. Definitely the heir of Karya. That voice was steady as a rock. This makes Chris look like a total villain in 4K. He's fuming, ready to crash out, but he didn't expect Haris to back the little guy up. Then he remembers his shady deal with So and Haris's current status, so he decides to fake a smile. Talk about cringe. He's thinking, the hunt is just starting, I'll get my chance. But honestly, dreaming that big while being that dumb, Haris doesn't even give him a chance to clap back. She takes Lil Mang and dips, but the drama never sleeps. As soon as she shakes off one loser, a boomer and his goofy son pull up, talking about gifting her the most precious prey. They try to introduce the son to Haris like it's a dating show. Lil Mang is glaring daggers at them, wishing he could delete them from the server. Thankfully, Violetta swoops in to save the awkward silence, but then Cyan pulls up. He's late, Haris gives him the side eye, and what does he do? Smoothly kisses her on the cheek, but then plot twist, he says he has to go home immediately. That sudden PDA left everyone shook, especially Lil Mang, who looked as hurt as a puppy who dropped his treat. Meanwhile, cut to the basement dungeon, where the animals are sick and locked up. Even Renan is disgusted, but Diego, he looks worse than the monsters. He sees someone coming and starts barking like a rabid dog, trying to flex his rank. But the moment he hears your son, he freezes like his controller disconnected. He finds out his golden boy got kidnapped and starts tweaking just like the monster in the cage. Renan, watching from the shadows, is just done. Obsessed with the son, but heartless to the daughter, make it make sense. When Diego hears his daughter mentioned, his eyes shift. He starts shaking, imagining her crying and begging for mercy. But that's just a nightmare. He can't believe he'd be that cruel, total denial. As the woman walks away, he tries to make a deal, but nobody's buying what he's selling anymore. Even crazy Renan ignores him. In her head, she's seeing glitches, weird images flashing. After seeing Diego, she's sure it's not just lag. Just gotta wait a bit longer to unlock the truth. Cut 2, the girl has been crying for 7 days straight. The guy is in a terrible mood. He grabs her by the neck. Chill. Bro, you trying to delete yourself? He wanted clues from Gabriella, but she's useless. Doesn't remember a thing about who locked her up or what happened. She just keeps screaming for her daddy and brother like a broken record. He shows her a golden key. You ever seen this bling? She keeps her head down. Silence. This pathetic vibe triggers Eun's memories from his past life. He remembers Haris covered in blood, and this pick-me girl accusing her. Big sister is a killer. I saw it with my own eyes. Oh, so that's the tea. Cyan finally realizes why looking at her makes him want to punch a wall, and she still has the nerve to use Haris as a shield. If his squad didn't hold him back, he would have ended her free trial of life right there. Even though she's terrified, she still asks to see her sister. She feels like she owes her an apology. Cyan, looking totally unbothered, yeets her onto the bed and teleports away. Next stop, Ricardo's old villa. The place is dustier than a haunted house, no footprints, which is mad suspicious. Means the person living there was careful. He looks at a deer head mounted on the wall. He charges up some dark energy in his hand. Boom! One slap and the wall is history. At the same time, Haris senses the disturbance in the force all the way at the hunting ground. What's wrong with her? Lil Mang asks. Suddenly, an uninvited guest crashes the party. It's the guy with the twin tails from the Pennon clan. Haris is like, who are you again? But the blonde dude with him is dumb as rocks. He starts trashing Diego and Ricardo, trying to embarrass Haris in front of the squad. Is he trying to get cancelled? Big mistake. Haris hits him with that intense pressure. Blonde guy starts shivering but keeps yapping, saying the Inuaden family is finished. Haris doesn't even bother explaining. She summons the rose vines. Yoink wraps up his legs instantly. She doesn't need anyone's permission. Her face is stone cold, zero emotion. She calmly tells him, know your place before you talk to me. Then she sips her tea like she's in a commercial while the guy begs for mercy. Total savage. Little Mang is worried, but then, pure Disney princess magic happens. Haris unleashes her scent and literally every animal in the forest pulls up to bow down. Butterflies, moose, brown bears, it's a whole zoo. The crowd is losing it. Even her boyfriend, who usually clings to her 24/7, is stunned. She's sitting there, surrounded by beasts, looking way too cool for just the word charming. Cyan rushes over like he hasn't seen her in years. It's been 2 hours. He touches her face right in front of everyone. And you know who's watching? Chris. And he is salty. Jealousy level 1000. Harris ignores Chris completely and lets Cyan touch her. Back at his place, Chris is smashing furniture like a toddler. She was mine. They stole her. The delusion is real. He finally calms down, smells roses, looks up and boom. Harris is there, looking down on him like a boss. He loses all his confidence instantly. But he didn't know the deal with So was leaked. Harris asks, "What did you promise So for those tears?" Let's play 20 questions. He tries to dodge the question. Harris puts her feet on his desk, power move, and glares. I'm asking again. Did you make a vow with your ability? She knows everything. You traded the former pennant leader, didn't you? Chris is shook. He didn't think she had the receipts. It was to pay for my dad's medical bills. Yeah, okay, buddy. Vines grab his head, swish, and toss him into the lake. Splash. Chris falls in. He pops up looking like a wet rat, giving her the sad eyes. But you only love me. He still thinks they're in a romance novel. He can't understand why she isn't looking at him with heart eyes anymore. He gets angry, but all he gets is a reality check. You're delusional. The scent of roses lingers, driving him crazy. His jealousy turns into ice magic, freezing the petals. He's lying on the ice, mind broken. But he knows one thing. He wants Harris. It's giving stalker vibes. He decides he needs to unalive Cyan. Meanwhile, Harris follows her boyfriend because she wants to see her sister. She opens the door. Gabriella sees her savior and launches herself at Harris, hugging her leg like a koala. Finally, she's crying a river, snot and tears everywhere. Harry steps back like, "You, personal space." She asks, "Did you eat something weird lately?" Harris does a quick magic scan, free healthcare check. "Yup, you definitely ate the weird thing." Confirmed. She turns to leave. "Wait, I'm sorry." Harris thinks she's just talking nonsense, but then Gabriella drops the bomb. She remembers the past life. "I shouldn't have lied about the baby." Harris is stunned for 3 seconds. Comment below if you saw that twist coming. Yo, welcome back to the channel. So Gabby's apology tour was faker than a $3 bill. She is definitely not sorry. If she didn't have to save face, she wouldn't be caught dead within 5 miles of our girl. She's officially canceled as his sister. Delete her contact, block her on Insta, goodbye. Meanwhile, Harris is having a flashback to last night when he spilled the tea to his wifey about the whole drama. Instead of a thank you, he got a warning to dump his side piece. But Harris is a total simp for his wife, no way he's cheating. He tells his squad, "Yeet Gabby, out of here, drop her in the Bronx for all I care." Gabby is social suicide now. Nobody wants her around. Fast forward to the succession party, it's chaotic. Everyone saw Harris flexing his powers, and now all the normie nobles have major FOMO. They're sliding into his DMs begging for magic juice. It's hilarious because Harris knows the truth. It's like asking for a platinum card when you're broke, completely useless for them. Here's the lore. The Charioteers item only upgrades the Elite Four families. For regular folks, useless. But the blood, that stuff gives normies Hulk strength but drains the elites. Pricey upgrade though. While Harris is doing the math in his head, he bumps into Claudia, Violet's ride or die bestie. She wants to hit up the hunting grounds, basically a twisted version of Coachella with monsters. Harris tries to be smooth, offering to share an Uber. But she shuts him down, she's rolling with Violet. Handshake denied. Major cringe moment for our boy. He tries to play it off by touching her hair. Creepy uncle vibes much. Suddenly, the wicked mother-in-law shows up, looking like a demon straight out of a horror movie with shadow wings. She starts carrying out. "What are you doing?" Then snip. Her pinky finger goes flying. Harris, absolutely savage, grabs the ring right off the severed digit. He absorbs the god-tier loot from the ring. Suddenly, the monsters that were acting tough start bowing down like he's the king of pop. It's a total power move. Just when we thought it was chill, the beasts respawn and rush Mark. Harris yells at his boy Steve, "Get him to safety," and the chase is on. High-speed pursuit style. She unleashes her ultimate move, but some black smoke crashes the party. The old witch tries to flex her golden ring finger, screaming, "Wait, we need to talk about the treasure." Harris isn't having it. The rage meter hits max. He grabs the hag and teleports them out of there faster than you can say abracadabra. Meanwhile, underground, Chris is hunting for Theo. Chris finds a mob of monsters camping a spawn point. He wipes them out with his powers, but is low-key stressing about scuffing his limited edition white Yeezys. Out pops Theo, covered in gore, complaining Chris is too loud. "Bro, you just survived a dungeon run. Quit whining about the noise level. Chris is so done with him. Chris wants to slap him but remembers he promised to babysit. He realizes Theo's brain is buffering. He still doesn't get that their own ally caused this entire mess. Theo thinks the escaped monsters aren't a big deal because Harris will carry the team. But Chris needs to dip because he's got a side quest to finish for the boss. Chris flashes a smile that says, "I'm the villain." Turns out, he let the monsters loose to turn the hunting grounds into a literal Fortnite storm circle. Even his partner Bella is shook. The plan was to trap people right before the event ended, but now the timeline is wrecked and everything is going sideways. Bella realizes her kid is with Violet and goes into Mama Bear mode. Outside, it's total anarchy. Monsters are feasting and the fancy nobles are losing their minds. The tough guys who usually brag about their sword skills are crying for their mommies. Then, thud, Lenore gets body slammed into the dirt like a ragdoll. A smell of roses hits the air, and the monsters freeze. They bow down to Harris like he's Beyoncé. He looks absolutely fire standing there, looking down on everyone. Some dude loses his mind seeing his wife hurt and starts swinging blindly. Meanwhile, Harris's psycho mom is just laughing in the corner like the Joker. Flashback time. Turns out the OG family stole the king's heart way back in the day. Talk about greedy ancestors, they literally looted the boss item and split it. The monsters are actually victims wanting payback against the humans who corrupted them. Harris hears their voices in 4K audio. His divine vibe check makes them submit. Axel pulls up and his jaw hits the floor. Everyone is staring at Harris like he's a glowing deity. You can't look away from that level of charisma. But haters never sleep. Some blue-haired noob tries to snipe Harris with a bow. Axel screams a warning, but the arrow lands before anyone can react. Harris takes the hit. The smell of blood turns the monsters feral again. Axel jumps in front to tank the damage, thinking he needs to fight the beasts. Plot twist. Axel ignores the beasts and slices the assassin in half with magic blades. Time starts glitching, and Lenore realizes she remembers her past life. She was a mass murderer in a previous save file. Axel downloads his memories too and yells, "Run or we get spawned killed." The panic is real. He's kicking himself for forgetting the crucial lore from his 5th playthrough. How do you forget the main quest details like that? Total rookie mistake. Meanwhile, Violet and Claudia are stuck in a tree like frightened cats, with monsters climbing up. These things have zero chill and are hungry for a snack. Violet shoots some arrows, but it's like throwing marshmallows at a tank. The monsters get triggered and start bashing the tree trunk. Claudia slips. Violet catches her, but her stamina bar is flashing red. Claudia goes full drama queen. "Let me go. Save yourself. Don't die for me." Violet says, "Bet and let's go," but jumps down with her. Ride or die, literally. Suddenly, boom. Monsters deleted. "Are you guys filming a TikTok?" A voice asks. It's Chris to the rescue, acting all heroic. Violet is super sus, though why is this shady guy helping us? What's his angle? Back to the main drama, Axel confronts his mom. He crushes her favorite vape pen and starts draining her mana. He's done playing nice with the toxicity. In the last timeline, he let his dad get away with murder. Turns out, Mom was the admin behind the whole corrupt server, pulling the strings. Mom just laughs, claiming it's a win because now the tabloids aren't focusing on Harris. She thinks she's doing Axel a favor by creating a diversion. Axel isn't buying it. "You call this helping? That boomer tried to kill my girl." He disintegrates her pipe into pixels instantly. He drops a mic drop threat. "Watch your back, Mom." Even when you breathe, he storms out and finds Harris hiding outside, shaking like a leaf. She's traumatized. Axel goes soft boy mode, takes off his designer jacket, and wraps her up. "Let's get you out of this cold, babe." Harris barely calms down before the PTSD hits. She dreams of her dad's crazy eyes and the abuse. It's straight-up nightmare fuel replaying in her head. She tries to log out of the nightmare, but shadow hands drag her down. She reaches for the light, desperate for a respawn point. "Yo, fam." Imagine screaming for help at the top of your lungs, but it's like you're on mute. That was her vibe, total despair. But as her panic grew, this mysterious light started glowing brighter, and guess who showed up? The chemistry between these two was literally written in the stars, but she was deep in denial. Once the whole court drama wrapped up, she was ready to ghost everyone. She basically said, "I'm out," right after the verdict. She wanted to bounce after the settlement, but Sean wasn't having it. He asked why she was rushing off, and she couldn't even give a straight answer. She just mumbled something about cleaning up the mess, but honestly, she needed the tea on what went down the last 2 days. She thought she was tough enough to handle the truth, but hearing the details from Sean hit different. It turns out, even after she passed out at the courthouse, the justice system completely failed her. Get this, her scumbag dad got caught in 4K, but he walked away without any real punishment. Even his accomplices, Ricardo and Gabriella, just got house arrest. Make it make sense. Every day she's dealing with the trauma, staring at that gnarly scar on her neck, wondering why the bad guys are living their best lives. Sean was low-key, terrified seeing her so quiet and numb. Fast forward a few days to Violetta's birthday bash. Everyone and their mom knew Sean was pulling up, but Harris was left in the dark until the maid spilled the beans. If it wasn't for that slip-up, she would have been clueless. But since she knew, she had to show face, right? Sean's mom had gone full psycho mode on the city, yet the four elite families swept it under the rug. Sean decided it was time to put a lid on his mom's powers before she wrecked his fiancé. The boomer elders flipped out, saying, "You can't cancel your own mother without receipts." But they conveniently forgot that those crazy people in the streets were actually victims being mind-controlled. While the rich families were busy having a brunch meeting to discuss strategy, Renan crashed the party and turned the town square into a disaster zone. It was straight-up nightmare fuel that Sean still has flashbacks about. If you can't control your superpowers, you're basically a ticking time bomb. The elders tried to play the grieving widow card for Renan, claiming she missed her late husband, but Sean wasn't buying that sob story. Sean looked at these old dudes like, "Are you deaf or just senile?" He went full savage mode, threatening to shut down their entire council if they didn't zip it. So, they head over to the Karya estate for the makeup birthday party. Even though Violetta lost her sight to a monster, she was still serving looks and grace, greeting guests like a total queen. Harris brought a gift that felt like a homemade tamale, laughing it off awkwardly. Then, right in front of the whole squad, Sean drops a bombshell, introducing the lost son to the crowd. Violetta was beaming like she just won the lottery, and Harris, hiding by the door, felt a weird mix of jealousy and shock. She had never seen her bestie look that happy before. Suddenly, Harris's mood shifted. Seeing everyone smiling and clapping triggered something dark inside her. Her face went stone cold as she watched the crowd celebrate. She's thinking, how are y'all partying when this lifestyle is built on blood? She was tortured for years like an animal, innocent people died, and these elites are popping champagne. The injustice made her snap. The inner demons took the wheel, completely swallowing her logic. When Violetta ran over to give her a hug, things went south real quick. Harris literally went zombie mode. She grabbed Violetta and started choking her out. Her eyes were dead empty, it was giving possessed doll vibes, and nobody could pull her off. Someone finally tackled her to the ground. She snapped out of it, looking at her red hands like, wait, what just happened? She didn't even remember going on the attack. She couldn't believe she just tried to delete the person who saved her life. The party turned into total chaos until Sean swooped in, seeing his wife sitting on the floor, looking helpless. The crowd was whispering and throwing shade, but Sean didn't care. He crossed the room in 2 seconds flat, scooping her up and glaring at anyone who dared to judge his traumatized wife. People were saying the Carrier family was weak for letting this happen. Sean ignored the haters until someone shouted, "She just tried to strangle Violetta." That finally caught his attention. Harris had attacked her savior and had zero memory of it. The crowd started screaming mutant and wanted to throw her in a cage, claiming she was a danger to society. Sean went full alpha, ignored the noise, and carried her out of there. The elders were furious and wanted to interrogate Harris and cause trouble for Sean, but Violetta stopped them. Violetta was a total angel, telling them to chill. She knew Harris had beef with the family for good reason and just let it slide, ignoring the elders' complaints. Back at the budget estate, things were just as messy. They got a notice claiming Harris was a biological hazard and trying to push for Ricardo to take over the family leadership. It was total garbage, but the spineless elders were scared to rock the boat. They told Sean to hand Harris over to keep the peace. Sean told them, "If I give her back, she's dead meat. So shut your mouths and get out." He was ready to burn the place down but calmed down watching Harris sleep, seeing the tears on her face. Feeling guilty and heartbroken, he headed to the dungeon where they kept the experiment victims. It was like a horror show down there, filled with people ruined by the Carrier blood experiments. He visited the 2 villains, Tio and Bola, who were locked up. He told them, "This is the last time I'm asking nicely. Hand over the cure for the mutation." When Bola stayed silent, Sean signaled his goons. They brought in a bucket of cursed blood originally meant for research and force-fed it to her. Talk about a taste of your own medicine. Legend has it that it takes a year of drinking that stuff to turn into a monster, but Sean didn't have that kind of time. He needed answers yesterday. He cranked the dosage up 5 times to speed-run the process, telling Bola to prove her toughness. Teo just laughed in his face, calling Sean naive. Teo was like, "You think your family's hands are clean." Sean told him to shut up or die, but Teo didn't care about Bola. She was just a pawn trying to save her own kid. Then Teo spilled the darkest tea imaginable. It involved Sean's own mother. Sean stormed off to confront her, grinding his teeth and praying it was a lie. He begged his mom to deny it, but she was chilling. She literally said, "Life was boring, and I wanted some entertainment." She admitted she joined the experiments because Bola promised her a thrill. She talked about the victims like they were NPCs in a video game, not actual human beings. Before Sean could even process that, she dropped another truth bomb. The elite families used to have superpowers, but they bred them out of existence. Only the BJ family has any juice left. She tossed him a golden key and said, "Go find out for yourself." It was the villain origin story nobody asked for. His wife died right in front of him, and he went absolutely berserk. Back home, Harris was isolating herself from the world. After the disaster at the party, she shut down completely. She preferred her nightmares over waking up because reality was just too painful. She couldn't tell what was real anymore and wanted to go back to the facility just to end it all. Talk about dark thoughts, she felt like checking out was the only option. Sean panicked when he heard that and made up an excuse like, "It's too cold to leave right now." He watched her sleep, looking at her with total hard eyes and sadness. He knew he owed her a massive apology, but he also knew she's the type to forgive him instantly and bottle up the pain. He didn't want her carrying that burden alone. He kissed her hand and whispered, "Just give me the green light, and I'll destroy everything that hurts you. I just want to see you smile again, for real." Yo, welcome back to the channel. We are diving straight into the drama. Harris looks over and sees Axion looking absolutely wrecked. She feels his warm hand and honestly, she thinks she's tripping. Like, is this a dream? Because in real life, there is no way she'd be this chill holding his hand. She sees him begging her to wake up and she forces a smile, basically saying, "Thanks for being my emotional support human in this nightmare." With him there, the sleep paralysis demons can't get her. But spoiler alert, this peaceful vibe? Yeah, it's not gonna last. Flashback time. The elders, total boomers, by the way, bust into her room. The maid is on her knees begging, but they don't care. They tie Harris up, blindfold her, and toss her into a carriage like a sack of potatoes. Next thing she knows, she gets yeeted onto the ground. She hits the dirt hard. Rude. Then she smells roses and instantly knows she's at Inuaden Castle. Before she can react, someone drags her by the hair. She's thinking, "Welp, guess I'm dying today." But instead of freaking out, she actually starts laughing. Why is she laughing? Because she looks like a total mess, and she's just glad her crush won't see her looking this uncute before she dies. But guess what? Plot twist. Axion pulls up to the scene right as things are getting ugly. Talk about timing. The elders don't even get a chance to speak before it turns into a splatter movie. Axion goes full berserker mode. Blood everywhere. People running for their lives. It is chaos. He completely loses it and wants to unalive every single person there. Harris has to step in. She touches his face gently, trying to snap him out of it. "Chill, Axion. It's over." But the guy is glitching out, stuck in some past trauma loop even though his powers are fading. Harris realizes talking isn't working, so she has to use her teleport skill. She warps them back to their special grassy spot and yells, "Snap out of it, bro." Finally, the lights come back on in his eyes. He feels her warmth and immediately clings to her like a terrified toddler. He is down bad, folks. Hearing her voice, the guilt hits him like a truck. He's beating himself up, wondering how he could forget the important stuff. He is terrified of a future where he gets ghosted by the universe and has to live without her. Total existential crisis. The king's warning is living rent-free in his head. If this happens again, you're toast. He's not sure he can handle that level of pain. Meanwhile, we gotta talk about that moment the monsters bowed to Harris. She almost lost her mind right then and there. Looking into those dead monster eyes, hearing voices telling her to finish them, it was straight-up horror movie vibes. Harris was terrified. If her man hadn't shown up, she might have gone full villain arc and wiped everyone out. And what was up with that weirdo aiming a bow at her? Was he targeting the monsters or trying to snipe her? Super sus. Plus, why was Renan holding a relic and trying to start beef? And the river drying up? Even after living 8 lives, Harris is confused. The math isn't mathing. But the biggest red flag? Axion is suddenly quiet. Yesterday, he was ready to burn the world down, and today he's acting like nothing happened. He's moving monsters around on the down low and trying to keep the secret about the Carrier bloodline from leaking. Harris is worried, so she asks, "Hey, wanna hit the river?" She needs to vibe check the situation. Mentioning the river makes things awkward. Both of them look guilty. But since he's the new boyfriend, he's gotta go into protection mode. Little do they know, some creep is watching their every move from the bushes. Before long, Chris gets the tea. Everything seems normal on the surface, but the rumor mill is going crazy. People are saying Harris summoned the monsters and that's why she got clapped by an arrow. It sounds ridiculous, but the streets are talking. They say the monsters bowed to her like she was their queen. Chris hears this and is absolutely shook. He kicks the messenger out because he can't deal with this drama. Chris's brain is buffering. He knows something is fishy. The monsters have to be connected to Tezo, but everyone is blaming Harris. It's a classic setup, but Chris can't prove it. He knows Tezo is playing 4D chess, but he doesn't get the endgame. Why did Tezo want him to save Violet? He could have just let her get wrecked and eliminated a political rival. Chris is racking his brain, but he's got nothing. He's just glad Renan didn't spill the beans in the basement. He wants to go back down there, but suddenly he hears a commotion outside. The whole staff is rubbernecking. Chris goes to see what the tea is, and before he can ask, he hears a familiar voice. It's the guy who got forced into a marriage by his toxic family. The wife went loco, and it's a whole mess. Here is the backstory. The guy liked the cousin, but the family forced him to marry the older sister. Then the sister dipped, and everyone blamed him. Then the cousin cried and blamed him too. Poor guy just wanted a happy life. But nobody listens to him. He feels like he's suffocating in this crazy family. The love he had turned into the ick real quick. That is why he teamed up with Renan. Sure, Renan is an old lady, but she's got freedom. She does what she wants. And when Bola asked, "Don't you want to change the family?" it hit him right in the feels. So, at the hunting competition, after making Chris save Violet, he got the elders to press the clan leader. They accused the leader of hiding monsters. These elders are useless NPCs, but they love to talk trash. They want to bring Renan into the fold because she saved Violet. The clan leader slams his staff down like, "Enough." He reminds them that Grandma still runs these streets. If they keep yapping, they're gonna pay. The elders shut up real quick, but the meeting ends, and Violet pulls Tezo aside like, "Yo, what was that? Why did you save me?" Tezo plays it cool, denies everything, and blames it on Chris being a hero. Violet is confused because she thought the same thing. Tezo walks away, leaving her with bad vibes. Whenever Tezo is in a mood, he goes to see Renan. She's missing a pinky finger, which has gotta hurt, but she's laughing like a maniac. She thinks this whole situation is hilarious. She finds Harris's obsession with her boyfriend amusing. She thinks Bola's plan is fun but doomed to fail. Tezo doesn't get the joke because he doesn't have his memories from the previous life. Renan is basically saying, not knowing the ending is the best part. Meanwhile, Bola is raging. She wanted to end Violet, but her plan backfired and almost took out her own daughter. Bola still doesn't know what went down underground. She's trying to stay calm because she has one final ult move. She's been dumping magic blood into the canal for 2 years. When the mutants rise up, it's going to be game over for the 4 families. Flashback to Harris. She's napping in a carriage and wakes up in a dark void. She's sweating bullets. She's terrified. She spent years being abused by her family, but Axion recognized her talent instantly. In the past, she used her powers just to show off, like a party trick. She wonders how he knew about her powers when he didn't have his memories. She was overpowered but forced to be her brother's sidekick, so he wouldn't look like a loser. In this life, she escaped early. She wanted to team up with Axion to find the mysterious M, but he rejected her. She felt like a total failure, just chasing clout. But surprise, Axion changed his mind. He agreed to help and even taught her how to control her magic. She mastered it instantly and got praised. Finally, a win for our girl. Yo, what is popping, squad? Welcome back to the channel. Check this, Shorty still has her ult ready, that secret move normies would use in the drainage tunnels under the LA River. She poured 2 years of blood into this. It is the day the mutants pull up and the 4 big families get absolutely wrecked. Don't forget to smash that like button if you want to see how this goes down. She chills in the carriage, thinking she's just taking a 5-minute power nap at a rest stop on Route 66. Wrong. She wakes up, and it is pitch black, cold sweat dripping like she just ran a marathon in Miami humidity. She is panicked, flashing back to years of her family treating her like absolute trash. This part is wild. Zion clocks her trauma instantly, like, first time they meet. C. When Karia unleashes her powers, it looks like a 4th of July fireworks show. Everyone thinks she is just flexing for the gram, being extra and showing off. But Zion has got amnesia, no past life memories, so how does he know the deal? That was Karia's whole life. Her dad forced her to be a glorified sidekick for her brother. Just an accessory so her bro could look like the main character. Toxic family vibes, right? Usually, the OGs teach you the ropes on how to handle your magic, right? Karia got zero guidance. Her training was literally just make it look pretty so her brother would not look bad. All glitz, zero damage, like bringing a designer bag to a shootout in Chicago. She escaped that toxic crib, but old habits die hard, fam. She wanted to team up with Zion to find the target, but he curved her hard. She could not even argue. He was spitting facts. She felt like a total noob, just useless and vain. She thought she was just chasing clout, feeling totally defeated. Before she bounced, she low-key hoped he would change his mind. She did not see the plot twist coming. Drop a comment if you think he's gonna flip the script. Zion actually agreed. He started coaching her on how to actually control her magic, not just look cool. She leveled up insanely fast, and he even gave her props. Today, they finally made major moves. Type W in the chat for Karia getting that glow up. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Today's story starts in a dungeon darker than a subway tunnel at 3 a.m. We found the spot where they were keeping the creature. Bam. Doors kicked down, FBI style. Inside, a skinny kid, totally wrecked. surrounded by blood gems. Talk about a grim setup. The kid looks up, spots Harris, and immediately catches feelings. "Are you an angel?" he whispers, voice trembling like he just saw a celebrity in Times Square. Harris freezes, that main character gaze hitting her right in the feels. She can't even hate the kid. It's impossible. She decides to stick around the mansion, basically to babysit the beast, but Zion's care is next level. When he checks on her, asking how she's adjusting, she hits him with the smoothest line ever. "With you here, how could I not be used to it?" Boom. Riz level 100. Zion's face turns redder than a stop sign, and he awkwardly changes the subject to Violetta's birthday. But hearing birthday sends Harris into a full-on PTSD spiral. She starts flashing back to that time she literally choked Violetta out. Yikes. The guilt hits her like a freight train, and she almost collapses. Back in her room, the bad vibes are taking up rent-free space in her head. Nightmares on loop. She knows she can't repeat the past, so she decides to apologize to Violetta. She heads to the bakery, think Magnolia Bakery vibes, to pick out a birthday cake. The owner hypes up a slice, so she tries it. The moment that frosting hits her tongue, pure bliss. For a second, she actually feels happy, demolishing the cake like it's a cheat day. Violetta would totally dig this. But just as she's vibing, her vision blurs. The shopkeeper fades out. Next thing she knows, she wakes up in a dungeon filled with mutated normies. But the real jump scare, her toxic dad is standing there grinning. "Long time no see, sweetie." Ugh, instant ick. He's been completely unhinged since she awakened the family powers instead of his precious son. He's mad because apparently, the ancient texts say Karya's tears give ultimate power. He looks at Harris, dragged back to this hellhole, and calls her a traitor to the Inoden clan. "You only bloomed because of the tears," he screams. He thinks she ran away to hoard power and steal his throne. "Talk about delusional. You wanted to replace me and my son," he rants. Total cap. Harris is so done with his podcast. She went looking for the beast, not power. But mentioning the beast just convinces this psycho he's right. The scumbag dad reaches into a box and pulls out, you guessed it, that gross blood stuff. "Eat up," he commands. Seeing that familiar red clump, Harris is terrified. Major red flags everywhere. She tries to explain, but he's not listening. He calls her existence a stain on the family legacy. Harris is over it. She tries to blast them with her powers. Game over style, but nothing happens. Glitch in the Matrix. Tezo smirks from the corner. Turns out, while she was out cold, he injected her with Karya's blood. It cancels out the gem power. She's back to square one, powerless. The despair is real, fam. And just like that, her sixth life ends in a cold lab. Wasted. But because Zion existed in this loop, she had a moment of peace. Now, we switch to Zion's point of view, and let me tell you, he is not playing games. He's ready to make everyone pay. He goes to Tezo looking for Bola, Harris's mom. "Where is she?" he asks, pressing him. Tezo plays dumb, telling him to go ask Violetta since they're besties. The audacity. Zion knows Tezo is trolling but can't clap back yet. Meanwhile, Bola, the mom Harris has been missing, is locked up in a silent prison. She's racking her brain on who kidnapped her. She never expected it to be Zion, the head of the Bell family. She's shook. Did he find out what I did? She tries to keep her cool and asks, "Why am I here?" Zion looks at her like she's a bug. "You really don't know." Bola plays the innocent card, laughing nervously. "I'm just a dummy. How would I know the leader's plans?" "Reason," Zion laughs. "Someone like you doesn't need a reason. I do what I want. You touch what you shouldn't have." Bola realizes this guy is fully unhinged. He's ready to take her out, but Zion isn't going to give her the easy way out. Oh no. He wants her to suffer like Harris did in her past lives. He's channeling some serious dark energy here. Flashback time. Harris is thinking about the original king and the four families. Were they bros? Rivals? The king got betrayed big time, heart ripped out and everything. Karma is real. People. Harris figures the family's civil war wasn't an accident. Even a nobody like Bola was probably a pawn in the king's 4D chess game. Back to reality, she wakes up from her vision. She came to snag a divinity shard but finds a mutated beast guarding it. She unleashes her rose scent, basically magical channel number 5, and the beast zones out, totally charmed. She checks the dig site. The shard is safe. Even if it was gone, she'd get it back. She absorbs the divinity and gets hit with a massive head rush, pulling her consciousness into another dimension. She meets the king's ghost again. This time, she feels way stronger. She also senses the beast's anxiety. "I'm leaving. What will you do?" she wonders. She decides to mercy kill it. One snap, and it sleeps forever. But wait, the shard she was looking for earlier? It's in Chris's hands now. A tiny crown, barely palm-sized. He doesn't get why Harris wants it, but it gives him major déjà vu. It reminds him of that beatdown Zion gave him in the forest. He remembers a woman there, smelling like roses. The memories are flooding back, and he realizes something is sus. He tells his squad to investigate and walks out with the artifact. Suddenly, Gabriella pulls up. He's been ghosting her since her last visit, but before he can get mad, she starts whining. I'm starving. The servants won't feed me. She's been hungry for days because the staff hates her. Chris is annoyed not at her hunger, but because his servants are slacking. Disrespectful. He orders his men to drag Gabriella away. But as she cries, he hallucinates and sees Harris in her place. It feels so real. He immediately tells his butler to send a DM to the Inoadan family. He needs to see Harris as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Zion, who remembers everything about the time loops, is on a warpath. His wife was tortured and experimented on by her own dad, not on his watch. Zion is handing out karma like it's free candy. He's torturing Bola and then drags his father-in-law, Diego, out of his hiding spot. Diego thought he was slick hiding in the basement. Diego, barely able to walk, still has the nerve to ask about his precious son. He's such a toxic boy-mom dad. Where is he? Is he okay? Zion loses it. You dare ask about him? Dark energy wraps around Diego's hand, and his flesh starts rotting instantly. Moral of the story, don't mess with Zion's wife. Smash that like button for part 2. Meanwhile, the villain is catching a vibe. A weirdly familiar energy signature. Feels like deja vu. He thinks back to that brawl with Ion in the Four Seasons forest. There was a woman there, and she had this hypnotic perfume scent. As the memory hits him in high definition, he realizes something's fishy. He orders his minions to keep digging and grabs the relic to bounce. He plans to stash it somewhere safe, but bumps into Gabriella on the way. He's been ghosting her since her last visit because she's irrelevant to him. He's about to blow a fuse, but she beats him to it. She starts sobbing, I'm starving. The maids had completely ignored her, leaving her hungry for days. Even though Chris thinks she's annoying, the staff slacking off is a direct insult to his authority. He orders his guards to drag her out and deal with her. But then, looking at her tear-streaked face, he suddenly hallucinates. For a split second, she looks exactly like Harris. It feels too real. Shook, he tells the butler to express mail a letter to the Ino family. He needs to see Harris as soon as possible. This guy knows the truth about the time loops and is slowly losing his marbles as the tragic memories flood back. His wife wasn't just experimented on by her own dad. She died horribly over and over. He wants everyone to pay. After slowly torturing Bola, he hunts down his father-in-law and grabs the old man by the collar. He drags him outside time for a new kind of pain. Diego, the dad, never thought he'd see the son again after being locked in the dungeon. He only escaped because the place finally collapsed. He can barely walk, but this toxic, son-obsessed old man is still looking for his precious golden child. When he sees the protagonist, he loses it. He doesn't care about anything else. The audacity to ask, is my son okay? Is he living the good life? Suddenly, dark energy coils around him. In a blink, the flesh on his hand starts rotting away instantly. The dude hits the dirt, screaming in agony. He was planning to go full Karen and drag his father-in-law into a humiliating apology tour, but realized he's got zero clout left. Honestly, not everyone has the VIP pass to beg for forgiveness anyway. Meanwhile, over in the dungeon, Dion is going completely Joker mode. He didn't just kidnap Ricardo. He locked up the former Winter Chief just to delete superpowers from the server. According to his twisted logic, the family drama in the Agriche crew is all because of these unequal powers, so he wants to Thanos snap everyone. He grabs some blood samples to run his own twisted science fair project. He wants to see if the big four families are actually immune, so he's planning to inject 2 people at once. Back at the mansion, Roxy comes home looking like she wrestled 7 monsters in a mosh pit, but it was actually just one beast. She's covered head to toe in gross monster juice. She's trying to peel off that nasty outfit, but it's a struggle bus. The maid is busy grabbing towels, so Cass steps up with the assist. He helps unzip her dress, but he didn't expect to see blood splattered on her shoes. Then he catches a glimpse of her bare back and his heart goes 0 to 60. Even though the maid interrupts to call her for a bath, Cass is standing there blushing like a total simp. Is this guy for real? Torturing his in-laws 1 minute, blushing the next. Then the scene flips. Roxy is reliving 8 lifetimes in a dream, finally catching a break. Her dad gently picks her up after she trips. He checks if she's hurt. Her brother sprints over like Usain Bolt. Roxy, you good? She's tough as nails, didn't even cry. In this timeline, her mom is still alive too. Her brother dives into mom's arms, hyping up his sister's bravery. Come here, sweetie, I made your favorite dessert. Having a mom like this is the ultimate cheat code. But just as she reaches out for the happiness, the person standing there isn't mom, it's Gabriella. And she's not daddy's little girl anymore. Before she can process the glitch in the Matrix, her sister slaps a bracelet on her wrist. It's a rose bracelet representing the Pedalian crew, a gift dad just brought back. Roxy is listening to her sister ramble, but this happiness feels fake, like a filtered Instagram photo. Whether it's bedtime stories or running, on the lawn with her bro. Cass is suddenly there in every scene. They feel like they met way too late. If only their parents had arranged this match back in kindergarten, life would be sweet. Before they can even enjoy the couple time, two cute kids run up yelling, "Mommy, Daddy." It's absolute domestic bliss, but sadly, just a dream. Roxy wakes up groggy, seeing Cass looking super worried. Turns out, she's been asleep for 3 days straight since seeing the king's ghost. The drama from the hunting festival hasn't cooled down at all. Everyone is saying Roxy caused the chaos on purpose. Plus, Cass iced some rich noble kid. It was an accident, but witnesses swear that blue-haired dude was aiming for Roxy, not the monster. The Padelian PR team says it's fake news, but the rumor mill is spinning out of control. Roxy is zoning out, though. She hates this party, but she's more stressed that her mom has totally ghosted her. No texts, no calls. She thought Dine was trolling her, but he seems clueless too. Now she's got a bad feeling in her gut. Where on earth is her mom hiding? Suddenly, roses burst out of a random girl's chess game over. While everyone is freaking out, Roxy just flips her hair, looking bored. She absorbed the divine power and basically took a power nap. She hibernated for another 3 days to recharge. She's still tired, barely keeping her eyes open. Cass is letting her use his lap as a pillow, asking if she needs more Z's, but she's good. She pets his hair while cute animals gather around like she's a Disney princess. This peaceful moment reminds her of that dream. It feels like a mix of past memories and future goals, but it also feels kind of greedy. She wants kids, but bringing them into this messy world is irresponsible. Having this guy right here is enough for now. She asks the maid for the tea on what she missed during her 3-day coma. Besides some fan mail from Pennon, it's just Violetta and Dion drama in the Agrish house. Nothing major. But there's a tea party at the Montana estate this afternoon. Cordelia is hosting and acting super sus. She's not acting like someone whose mom has been missing for days. She keeps telling everyone mom is sick. Even when Violetta grills her, she sticks to the script. After showing Violetta inside, the guests she was actually waiting for finally show up. A redhead leads the pack. They're dressed like average Joes but asking for Bola immediately. Apparently, they had an appointment 3 weeks ago but got ghosted. Cordelia recognizes the crew, but the guy with the buzz cut is new. Her intuition is screaming stranger danger, but she lies and says mom left her in charge, so follow me. It's almost sunset, and the party is lit. Roxy is creeping on the roof. She almost missed the action because she was napping, but she spots something weird and teleports instantly. Meanwhile, the shady group is arguing with Cordelia. The redhead looks ready to spill the beans but gets scared silent when her henchman glares at her. Suddenly, the redhead explodes into flowers, dead on the spot. It's gruesome. Roxy steps out onto the bloody scene, looking like a boss. Good thing you're all here. Saves me the travel time. She starts wiping them out, but then her toxic ex Chris crashes the party and spots her. Roxy gives him the cold shoulder, recognizing the divine fragment. So you stole it, huh? Before Chris can even blink, vines slash past him. Splat. His henchman gets a vine through the heart. The box in his hand opens, revealing innocent eyes inside. The vines wrap around the relic, turning it into a crystal as Roxy grabs it. Chris sprints to his fallen buddy with zero chill. He didn't see this coming. He just wanted answers because Roxy ghosted his letters for weeks. He finally gets his chance at the tea party, only to watch his childhood friend get deleted. Suddenly, a bright gold light blinds him. The truth he wanted hits him like a truck. In his head, Roxy is dead. It's like she died right in front of him. In the original timeline, she lived at his place, but by the time his brother brought her back to the Padelians, it was too late. Past life memories flood his brain like a tsunami. He's paralyzed. Meanwhile, Roxy is glowing gold, absorbing the last of the power. Dizzily, Chris hears a thud. In his hallucination, the girl he loved is dying again. No, don't go. You can't leave like this. He reaches out, terrified and full of regret. I was wrong. I didn't mean the trash I talked before. He's crying ugly tears, swearing he'll change. Please don't die. Open your eyes. I'm begging you. His voice is heartbreaking, but then, don't touch her with your filthy hands. Cass's power blocks him like a force field because he's simply not worthy. Alive or dead, even if she's just a corpse, she belongs to me. Cass pulls his wife into a hug, drops the mic, and teleports them away, leaving Chris alone in the blood. That level of trauma is going to need years of therapy. Meanwhile, in the woods, Cordelia is in shock. That redhead claimed her mom was doing experiments, using the family's blood. Why would mom do that? She has nobody to ask. In the past life, Roxy actually tried to warn her about this shadiness. When Alice first met these shady merchants, they looked normal, except for a weird chicken leg scar on the lady's neck. Definite red flag. She knew she had to investigate. When she saw the woman again in winter, after Bola got the death penalty, the woman was begging on her knees. "Spare Bola, and I'll help you cure the mutants." The woman pleaded. Alice gave her exactly 1 year. If she can find a cure within 12 months, maybe there's a chance. The clock is ticking. So, check this out. Mommy Dearest got clapped back by her daughter-in-law and thrown into a magical timeout box by her own son. It is so quiet in there, a mouse rip a tooting would sound like 4th of July fireworks. Stedman is bored out of his mind, picking his toes, when suddenly a maid walks up looking like an extra from The Walking Dead. She keeps headbanging against the barrier, blood everywhere, feeling zero pain. Is this a zombie outbreak? Nope. Just like Thanos, snap, the maid turns to dust. Stedman is confused. What kind of four-dimensional chess is Renan playing here? Nothing major, just taking out the trash. The barrier was built to hold the old hag, implying Axion knew some secrets. Renan drops hints about their past lives, but Stedman is clueless, thinking the guy is just senile. Renan wants the barrier down to meet Harris. Yeah, right. Stedman gives that a hard swipe left. He knows Renan usually can't crack this code, but the vibe is different this time. Renan taps the barrier, then puts some muscle into it. The whole thing shakes like an earthquake in Cali. Stedman tries to hold it together, but he totally underestimated this dude's power level. Renan breaks a finger but smashes through the shield like it is glass. He coughs up blood, but the damage is done. Stedman realizes he got played. It was bait to make him lose his cool. Dark energy explodes out of Stedman like a shaken soda can. His beast mode is taking over. Meanwhile, Axion senses the breach Renan is in the base. Priority 1, hide the wife. Axion whips out a golden key Renan gave him and unlocks a secret dimensional door in thin air. It leads to the king's hidden VIP lounge. He lays his sleeping beauty in a coffin. Rose vines spread out instantly. It is giving major fairy tale vibes. This is a legendary space only one person per generation can use, and he is using it as a panic room. Best hiding spot for Harris, hands down. The floor is littered with blue gems, carry his tears. It is like a diamond store exploded in there. Renan couldn't break in during the last life, but he is juicing now. Axion grabs a gem, pops it near his mouth, and his eyes go full cat mode with a purple glow. He powers up, aura blazing. Vines take over the room. Harris looks like Sleeping Beauty, dead to the world, but in her head, she is rewinding the tape to her 7th life. Dream sequence, 7th life. Mar is all grown up, but Harris isn't celebrating. They found a cure for the mutants, but Mar, who aged up way too fast, didn't make it. One red tear was the miracle cure. Harris is shook, realizing the gem Mar dropped after drinking her blood was the MVP item all along. But using it means Mar suffered. She can't handle that thought. Mar, being the absolute unit he is, volunteered for the experiments anyway. I'm game, sis. 5 years later, Victory Royale. Mutants are cured. The 4 big families throw a rager to celebrate, but Harris is feeling kinda blue despite the win. Someone says, hey, and she jumps. Axion hands her a drink. She tries to be polite. But honestly, being around this guy is more awkward than Thanksgiving with the in-laws. He reads her like a book. Cut the formal act. You are gonna own Innowaden soon anyway. That hits her. Oh yeah, we have been through some stuff. Since the 7th loop started, they have been partners in crime. Not lovers, not really friends, just teammates. Standing at the top together is the biggest change this time around. Finally, on his level. She starts getting greedy for a normal life, hoping maybe, just maybe, she won't die a tragic death this time. She smiles and drops a promise. Once I'm boss, if you still want me, I'm all yours. Axion files that info away in his permanent memory. Dude turns tomato red. Harris. You free tonight? I gotta tell you something. She says yes, and he walks away grinning like he just won the lottery. He didn't know that was the series finale for them. Gabriella, the drama queen, shows up crying about their dad and brother struggling after jail. How can you be so heartless? Harris hits her with a scene receipt. Then Violetta shows up, being a total sweetheart, telling Harris not to blame herself for the mutant crisis. Harris tries to stay tough. Violetta gets teary-eyed and drops a bomb. Mar left a gift. He specifically wanted to give it to Harris himself before the party. Harris is curious. Why was he being so mysterious? She heads to Mar's room, but the door is open. Is someone else in there? She peeks through the crack. Big mistake. Total nightmare fuel. Mar is dead on the floor, and standing there shaking, Gabriella. The girl literally slaughtered everyone right in front of her lover. Did you come to stop me? Harris asks, smiling through the pain. Harris found the body first, but Gabriella standing right there flips the script instantly. It wasn't me. Sis, help. I don't want to go to jail. Harris is frozen. Gabriella is grabbing her, sobbing fake tears. Then a maid bursts in screaming, Master Mar is down. Call 911. Scene from hell. Maid screams, and Gabriella points the finger. Harris did it. She is the killer. I tried to stop her. Look at the blood on me. Harris blacks out on the details, but suddenly she is public enemy. Number 1. Rumor mill says she wanted the gems and framed her sister. People claim she mutated into a monster. Violetta, the only witness who could clear her name, gets stabbed at the party. And the cherry on top, her own brother wants her to take the fall for Gabriella. It only hurts for a second, he says. Just die for your poor sister, okay? That is the moment Harris finally wakes up. All that kindness? Useless. She looks at Ricardo and thinks, you absolute trash bag. Rose vines erupt from the floor, smashing the iron door. The vines aim straight for that scumbag. Blood splatters. Harris realizes she has been an idiot for 7 lives. A little violence would have solved everything ages ago. Massacre mode, on. She slaughters everyone in the Inawadan clan. Looking at her bloody hands, she feels more zen than she has in years. If this is her fate, fine. She hopes Axion will be the one to end her, but he just stands there. Aren't you gonna kill me? Coward. Axion reaches out, trying to save the woman he loves, but she is done. I'm toxic, bro. Don't touch me. Don't save me next time. She stares at the empty sky. Thwack. Vines impale her own body. Blood rains down like confetti. Axion screams her name, totally broken. She's cold. Gone. Axion can't do anything but yell. That was the tragedy of life number 7. Looking back, the pain still suffocates her. Enter the king. He has been waiting. He wants to make her the new boss, but there is a catch. He steals her love for Axion. She can lose everything else, but deleting her feelings for Axion. Deal breaker. She snaps out of the flashback, feeling like a piece of her soul is missing. She sees the king's ghost again. Is it the new star's influence? Turns out the king's heart is a star crystal, and the Inawadan family hogged the biggest slice of that power pie. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, check this out, the Yadan family has been passing down this light energy for generations, but it's getting weak, like 1% battery weak. Then the king steps up to Harris. He gently taps her forehead, boop, and drops a truth bomb. Turns out, Harris's insane power comes straight from the king himself, not the Yadan bloodline. No wonder her family has been throwing shade at her for years. She's literally built different. Before Harris can even process that drama, the king starts spilling the tea on the ancient curse. The ancestors were thirsty for power, Yadan wanted immortality, and Karya wanted to be the boss of literally everything. Then you had Penon, who was chasing clout and fame, and BG, who betrayed the king for a toxic relationship. The king decided the whole squad needed to go down. Blood in, blood out, total destruction was the only vibe he was feeling. He basically said the Yadan love life is cancelled and their bloodline is cooked. It's all karma, fam. But the king actually feels bad for Harris and doesn't want her stuck in this endless loop of reincarnation and suffering. He wants to give her an out, but the price is steep. He rips away her human desires, no more crushing, no more obsession, just blank. Harris is confused and freaking out because he just stole her whole personality. She tries to tackle him, but he just fades away like a ghost, mumbling, hope you get fixed soon. Total cliffhanger. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Sion is having major beef with his biological mom. Cheyenne's mom, Lennon, just smashed a hole through the barrier at the Yadan estate. She's hunting for Harris because those creepy mutant zombies are popping up way earlier than they did in the last timeline. She's like, I ain't sitting on the sidelines this time. You remember how your dad gets clapped, right? She's totally testing Sion to see if he remembers the past life, watching his reaction like a hawk. Sion stays icy cool, which confirms he remembers everything. Lennon admits she wants the cheat codes to cure the mutants because her memory of the previous run is a little glitchy, and she needs the details. She claims she wants to save Sion's dad this time. Sion looks at her like she's stupid. Yo, you literally caused the apocalypse last time and watched him die. Now you want to play the hero? That is so sus. Even if they have the same goal now, Sion isn't giving her any info. She gets snappy and says, fine, keep your secrets. I'll just go force the answers out of Harris then. That sounded like a threat, guys. Bad move, mom. Threatening his girl, Sion goes full demon mode with the killing intent. But Lennon just laughs. You better check on your boy's stamina. I rig him up. If he goes berserk, bodies are gonna drop. You'd think Sion would panic, but he just laughs super creepy style. He conjures a massive fireball in his palm, winds up, and yeets it straight at his own mother's face. Boom! Lennon gets roasted like a marshmallow. She's shocked. You figured out the key? Guess you ate that disgusting artifact I left around. Her powers morph into weapons for round 2. She smirks through the soot. Nice try, kid, but you can't beat me.